And we're live.
Which we talked about last. We're live.
Sprung that on you.
He didn't give me the countdown.
I know. We were talking. I'm sorry. I forgot.
Here we go. This is how it's going to start, and this is the way it should start. The way my day's been so far. Hey, everybody. Welcome to PM in the PM. It is Thursday night. Sorry, we are a little bit late on me this time. We had the trifecta here in Minnesota. So we had rain, we had ice, and we had snow. And I thought I left early enough. But no, I did not leave early enough. Traffic was getting really bad. If I had left maybe 20 minutes later, I wouldn't be here right now at all. So we'd be canceling the show. But anyways, I hope everybody's doing well. We are back at it again, Pong and Mav in the PM. Thursday, the 16th of March. A nice, calm, kind of slow news week. We're going to get into the few things that did come about this week. We're still going to have a good time, as Mav and I always do, because he and I got to catch up because we don't talk much during the week anymore. So anyways, outside of that, let me get to my co-host, the man who is president of Fun Speculation Network, CEO, chair, and the entire board all by himself. Well, no, Caitlin. Caitlin's definitely got a seat, so yeah. I shouldn't say that. So Caitlin's at the table as well.
She's like 10 cent.
Yeah, she's like 10 cents. She's the financial backing of this entire project here. But the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, Fun Speculation, aka Mav. What is going on, brother? How has your week been, sir?
Pretty good. Busy as usual. I feel like I say it every week. I need to come up with something different.
Yeah, bro, you and I both. I do that all the time too.
Today I was on X Vlog with Mr. Boomstick XL over on Double Barrel Gaming, so that was a blast. Got to hang out with him. I haven't got the podcast with Boom in a minute, so that was fun. So go check out Boom's channel, and he hit 12K finally.
Yes. Congratulations
which is
to Boom. I said it to
a
him
big
on Twitter,
milestone as well.
Huge.
We're close to
milestone.
3K over here, everybody.
You are.
So if you're not subbed to the channel, if you do the honors, if you like the content here, hit the like button, share, and subscribe to the channel. See if we can't hit that 3K milestone over on Fun Speculation Network, as Fuzzy and as likes to call it. Now that I feel like that name's caught on with the whole panel and everything. And if I'm president of this empire, Pong, does that make you co-president maybe, or vice president maybe? You're on mute. You hit your button.
God damn it, I did it. I know, because I thought I had it on mute. No, Caitlin is definitely the co-president, so I'm not going to take that chair. Maybe vice president, maybe CFO.
CFO?
Maybe COO. Yeah, somewhere.
You do have like a financial, knowledge and stuff like that, so CFO would be good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I can handle that spot. You're definitely a Bob Iger, so we can
Bob Iger. We've been watching, I told you before that we binged Breaking Bad, and then we watched El Camino. Now we're in the middle of the third season of Better Call Saul. So we're just taking in the whole Breaking Bad multiverse right now, It's amazing. But besides that, also been, something about Wo Long.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to mute my sounds on my phone. I'm sorry. I'm still rocking Wo Long, bro.
Really?
I don't know what it is about this Souls-y type game. It's not really Souls-y to me.
It's more Ninja. It's more Ninja Gaiden.
I loved Ninja Gaiden, so maybe that's what it is. It's like it's hitting a certain level there that I find more appealing than frustrating, Right. And something about it. Yeah, I'm digging it. That's all I want to have. All I really wanted to play lately, except for some Midnight Suns.
Cool. Very nice.
We did dive into Halo Infinite Season 3 a little bit over the weekend. And
as good as everybody's saying it is?
It's good. I think there's something wrong with me, though. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what's wrong with me, because it's just a personal thing right now. When I play Halo multiplayer, I'm getting bored quickly.
Ooh.
And that's not a usual me thing. Usually that's like a go-to. So, and it's not anything to do with the wrong with the content. I was like, hey, there's great maps and all this stuff. Yeah. It's just maybe right now, for whatever reason, just the mindset that I have, it's just not scratching that itch.
Maybe you're outgrowing Halo.
I'm not. Don't say that. Damn it! I will never outgrow Halo.
10 years from now, it's gonna be Mav, the casual Halo fan, just like Bong.
Kate said her too. Yeah, it's like I don't know. I mean, people, somebody, I said that on Twitter, and somebody's like, "This is every game with you, Mav." No, I don't get bored of every game. I just graze a lot, and like I definitely haven't gotten bored of Halo. Like if you're familiar with our channel, how much Master Chief Collection we played and had just an absolute blast with and stuff like that. Just for whatever reason right now, I think it maybe I'm just in the mood for different kinds of games right now.
Probably.
That's probably what it is. I mean, I'm in a Wolong mood. That isn't really. It's not the same. It's apples to oranges right there. So
there's so much to play nowadays. I think that's a big part of it, right? So you're looking over at other games that are sitting there staring at you in the face, and you just, hey, I just want to go do this instead. A lot more choice nowadays. So
yeah.
Oh, even Battlefield's playing well, huh?
Yeah. Well, finally, so the next day, the next morning, I tried signing in and it worked. Yeah. Like we were playing.
That was a nightmare.
Oh God, that was so frustrating, dude. For whatever reason, chat, like I was like temporarily shadow banned from Battlefield. Apparently, like I don't know what was going on.
Half the people here were in your chat watching you get frustrated by it.
I was so frustrated. I tried launching it on all my different Xboxes. I completely unhooked my entire internet infrastructure in my house and set everything. And then I noticed that Kate's able to log in and play on every Xbox, and I'm not. And it was just the one game. Like I don't know what it is. It wouldn't connect to their servers, but the next day it worked.
It worked.
It's really weird. I don't understand it, but I'm glad it worked. I just haven't had a chance to really dive into since that night,
Yeah.
But that was for the hour I got to play out of the 4.5.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was so good.
It's very well done now. Like again, anybody, it's on sale constantly. You can find it so cheap nowadays. Anybody looking for just to have another shooter in your lineup for when you do not, maybe you just don't see anything else you want to play and you want to pop into a first-person shooter outside of Call of Duty or Halo, Battlefield is well worth it now. It legitimately is. Like there are very few issues with that game now, and it's well worth it. And then I got to bring this up too, Matt, because I saw you posted on Twitter, and only you. But I got to ask, what the hell happened with Valheim?
Okay, so I was like, hey, I'm gonna see what I'm gonna see what this Valheim game's all about. And I was in there, I had been playing Wolong, and I was like, I'm gonna try something else. Like this, everybody's talking about this game right now. I loaded it up. Like, okay, it looks pretty cool. I put it in performance mode right away. And then there was this giant bird that had this huge text box dialogue thing, and I'm like, I don't want to read all this.
Of course not.
So I kind of skipped past that.
He's teaching you what you gotta do.
Yeah, but it's too much words for me.
I know.
So I go and I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna see what I can do, and this is a survival game. So I usually, survival games, you go and harvest stuff and things like that. And I was experimenting with the buttons, and there was these 2 boar that were right by my spawn point. And I'm like, well, obviously those are probably there for me to easily kill and get some stuff.
That's what you went with.
So they were right next to me, though. I got a little close to them. They got a little aggressive. Okay. So I tried to punch them and then run away and punch and run away.
So you didn't even have a stick? You didn't have a club?
I had a fist. I had a closed fist. And, these boars hit a little harder than I expected, to be honest with you. And I got killed, and I just turned the damn game off. It's just like, all right.
I saw your tweet. I saw your tweet. And I was like, oh me, Mav. He went and aggroed boars right out the gate without doing anything else. I'm like, only Mav would do this shit.
I felt like a lone villager on Age of Empires trying to kill a boar.
Bro. Oh my god. I played Valheim. Yeah. I actually fired up Valheim for probably an hour. I'm already repairing a house. I've already got campfire. I've got my workbench. I'm killing boars left and right, killing goblins, those little goblin things running around left and right. Man, it's a classic survival game. It's very easy.
I've played survival games, but
I know you have, but
I didn't know my limits.
This is why I have to laugh, because every survival game teaches you don't run up and punch wild animals unless you have a stick, an axe, or at least a hammer.
I was a little bit timid about it at first. I was like trying to process
a deer maybe. But a boar? Come on.
Yeah. Well, I didn't. Okay. So they were in the way. They were right around me. Like I didn't know where to
There's
go
not
or
a
what.
whole world to go around.
Yeah. I could have went the other direction, I
Yeah,
guess.
you could have. You could
But
have. You could
they
have.
just seem
But
so
no, it's just charge
intriguing.
in.
You know.
Just charge in.
I will give it another go. I mean, obviously, this doesn't mean the game's bad. I was kind of impressed most of what I
Yes.
saw of it in the
Yeah.
30 seconds that I played it. But I think that maybe giving it a longer shot will be a good thing for me. Yeah.
Yes, probably a good thing. And we can hop in together, so we'll have to do that at some point too. Because actually, it performs extremely well, and I understand. And it's got the loop to it. Mav is the old hey, every little thing you do, you're gonna start leveling up that activity, jumping, running. So you're constantly getting running level up, jumping level up.
Yeah.
All of that constantly on the screen, which of course to any of us who are highly addicted, have highly addictive personalities, that adrenaline rush that you get from something as simple as that keeps you, hooked in, right? But actually I found it extremely intuitive as far as survival games go. If you've played other survival games, like honestly, you don't have to read the tutorial on this one. It's very well thought out. The menus and stuff. It takes a while. There's always an adjustment because everybody does it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
But again, if you played one survival game, you can hop into Valheim and you're not gonna know instantly. Okay, got to start collecting grass. Got to start collecting plants. Got to start collecting rocks. Got to start collecting sticks. Oh look, now I can make a club. Oh now look, I can make a stone axe. Oh okay, now I can start chopping things. Right now I can start attacking. Got to get my cooking fire up, all that kind of stuff. Very, very, like I said, intuitive as far as that goes. And the menu was, once I'd fooled around with it for about 15, 20 minutes, started getting really easy to, access and go through. Was having a really good time with Valheim, actually. So I was very impressed. Performance-wise, was running fantastic on the Series X. Didn't have any drops that I saw. Again, it's not the most graphically intensive game at all. But again, you just never know what you're going to get with these types of games. But it was a smooth 60 for me. And I actually really enjoyed what I saw there. I understand you got bosses that you eventually have to go beat. You have to go beat all the different bosses in different sectors. It's kind of your goal is to beat these bosses. So looking forward to playing some more Valheim. Been still rocking out, getting my sci-fi fix through Andromeda. I'm actually been playing like a lot of Andromeda. That's been my main focus this week. Again, I don't think of it like a Mass Effect game. None of it still to this point screams Mass Effect. And again, when they make references to things, I'm like, meh, whatever. It's high-end AA sci-fi game, but I'm having a good time. I'm running missions, getting the planets up to 100%, which is really fun to do, and having a great time with Andromeda, shockingly enough, at 30 frames. So whatever. Having a good time there. And then last night, I did hop on a plane to New Zealand when I got home to check out Anno 1800. I did, as I told everybody on all the shows, I did pre-order it. Pre-order the deluxe edition. Again, for strategy games, RTS games, JRPGs, I like to reward the publishers and developers as much as possible when those come through. Now I can't do all of them because I'm on a budget, but I do like to reward the people that are putting those games out. Again, I did with Age of Empires 2. I bought the deluxe edition for that. Bought the deluxe edition for Anno 1800, even though I've never played it before. Watched a bunch of people on PC been playing it since 2019, I think it came out. So I was super excited for this one because it's more than just a city builder. There is some naval battles. You got to think about your defenses. It's got a little Tropico to it, which I'm a big fan of Tropico. And it's got a full campaign in it. If you want to play campaign, or you can play sandbox, and the campaign is actually interesting. So I went to New Zealand last night, popped on Anno 1800. My God, what a gorgeous game.
I'm installing it right now, by the way. Like the 7-day trial that they have.
Yes, and to remind everybody, that's what I was just going to say. I'm going to remind you all that if you want to try Anno 1800, it's free for the first week. The entire game, free. Download it wherever you're playing it. Doesn't matter. It's free for the first week. No risk. So just download it and check it out if you're looking for a city builder type game, strategy game. But my God, it's gorgeous, Mav. The graphics are absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Some of them are ridiculously cool. I put up some pictures last night, some screenshots last night. For this type of game and the amount of people on the screen at the same time, like once you get your talents going, the amount of movement is awesome. Now there is and Mav, you're going to want to listen and read things in this. And in fact, there's some things they don't tell you that you kind of have to figure out. So I know you're going to get stuck, and I'm going to have to help you out. But
Okay. Fair enough.
it's certainly the setup controller wise is probably not the easiest I've ever played around with, but it's not bad. Once you get, it took me about an hour, and then things started clicking. And once that happened, I was really, really getting into it last night. I played for about 3 hours last night, maybe 4. I stayed up way too late to do it, but I was having such a good time in that game. So again, Anno 1800, for the first few hours here, nothing but impressed. There are a couple things that they're going to need to patch. There's a couple hiccups here and there. There's some texture loading that happens when you zoom in. From time to time, you'll see it. It takes a few seconds for the textures to load in on the buildings and that kind of stuff. So there is some of that going on. There's a couple times where your button presses don't register. I've come across that. So they're going to have a patch here for this thing. But again, as far as the city builder strat goes, I'm absolutely loving what I'm seeing here. And again, the campaign, the acting is well done. It's Ubisoft, right? It's Ubisoft, so they always do well on that side of things. The campaign for being a city builder campaign is kind of interesting. I'm actually having fun with it. So now I can't say enough good things about Anno 1800. Regular version is $39.99. Deluxe edition is $49.99, and basically, what you're just getting, you're just basically getting cosmetics for the city through the deluxe edition. That's what they are. So, but yeah, can't say enough about that. Really having a great time. I can't wait. I'm going to be diving back into it. Of course, this is the big beta weekend, which we are going to talk about, and it actually starts tonight.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much I'm going to get into it, but yeah, that's pretty much been my week. Been having a really fun time, man. Again, Andromeda. It's out of all the games, Andromeda, of all things.
Yeah,
So,
it's crazy.
They should update.
They should update that game.
They should have. They should have. But they want to ignore it like it never existed, which I don't blame them per se, because honestly, it is that bad. And I know there's a lot of people that like Andromeda. Again, if you like it, totally get it. It's just Mass Effect wise, it's just not there. It can be gorgeous at times, though, map. Really gorgeous. Like there's some spots where I still am like, wow, they did a fantastic job here. But then there's other parts where it's just like, my God, what were you all thinking? What were you all thinking?
Right.
Who did this? Who sat down at the writer's table when you guys are brainstorming and said, oh, this is a fantastic idea? And everybody went, yeah, I like it. Let's put this in. Awful. Like there's parts that I'm just like, oh, just get me through this. I'm done. Just get me through this part. But again, if you love Andromeda, I don't blame you. Again, I'm a lover of AA ridiculous RPGs. So is Mav. We played some games that people would be like, what in the world did you guys spend time on that for? And absolutely love them. So I don't care. I'm just saying, for me as a Mass Effect fan, again, it doesn't exist in the Mass Effect universe for me. But you're right, Mav. They should have updated it at least to give it a better second chance on the on the current.
Sometimes these updates, draw second wins into games, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But we'll see. I mean, everybody's just more excited for Mass Effect 4 whenever that happens, right?
Yeah,
so,
and like I just don't have a lot of faith in BioWare right now.
Yeah, we got to see Dragon Age first, right? We'll see if that hits.
Yeah, and I'm not even the biggest Dragon Age fan, like in the world, by any means. I thought they were good games, but again, as far as fantasy RPGs go, some of it was really, really good. Some of it wasn't that great to me. But I know there's huge fans out there. But I want to see if BioWare can recapture anything. And obviously, the trailers for the new Mass Effect definitely hit home, and they definitely did the right thing by harkening back to the original trilogy, which is fantastic. Having Liara and them, again, that's huge. So I'm hopeful. I just don't have a lot of faith right now, but we'll see.
Yeah,
who knows?
But we are playing a beta tonight, right?
We are going to play a beta. That's 100% for sure. Let me shut out chat real quick.
Yeah.
Do we have any super chats, by the way, that you got to get through?
Yeah, actually, we do. You want to do them, or you want me to handle them?
Go ahead. You probably got it more than I do. My phone caps out.
Shout out to Web Dave's Outbreak Gamers with a $2 super chat. Says Mav and Pong Soul, great guest on Gamers Council on Sunday.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Shout out, yeah, and I saw like they made some YouTube shorts over our some of our segments and stuff. Nice. They've actually been getting recommended to me as well, so like they pop up in my feed. Great job on promoting your shows, guys, and it was an awesome time.
Awesome, Dave.
Yeah, awesome show they have. It's a new podcast every Sunday there. So check out Gamers Council podcast over on Outbreak Gamers. Stuff Sean hit us with the £2.
What's up, brother?
Super chat. It says, "Happy almost Patty's Day. Get the whiskey out." Yeah, we know Vic. I know one person in the chat, Vic the Click. He'll show up at some point during the show. Probably, he's probably gonna celebrate St. Patty's Day pretty well with that whiskey. I bet.
Yep, absolutely. Dragonheart, I hear you. Pong Soul. He says, Pong Soul, 6 years of dev. The finished product is 2 years worth of work. I'll forever hate EA for that. Obviously, talking about Andromeda, and you were absolutely correct, sir. Again, it is what it is. I'm playing through it, so it says something. Right?
What if they had just combined forces and not done Anthem, and then had
or put all their resources into Anthem,
or that one or the other, right? But they instead they released 2 half-assed games.
Correct. One was really half-assed. One was like, oh my god, what did you guys do? Again, there's so much potential there. That's the problem. Whereas Mass Effect, they tried to go a different way. Again, mechanically, Mass Effect Andromeda, of course, plays almost better than any of them. Well, I shouldn't say that. Now that the remaster's out for the first original trilogy, they're all compatible. But with the jetpack and that kind of stuff in Andromeda, it's really fun in a lot of ways that, from a mechanical standpoint, that the others weren't. But they got away from what made Mass Effect great, right? They got away from it. It's basically the way I always, whenever I'm playing it, Mav, and I see like the crew together, it's like the dollar store version of the original trilogy. It's like they tried to do the same thing that the original trilogy did, except they had no characters that I personally, again, I'm not gonna speak for everybody, but that I can care about. Like they have nobody in the crew that I care about.
Yeah, that was the magic of Mass Effect, is how much you actually got invested to each one of those characters, right?
Right, exactly.
And I couldn't tell you a damn name from Andromeda.
Correct.
You're playing it right now, and you probably couldn't tell me.
No, because I don't pay attention, because I don't care about any of them, and they're all like I said, dollar versions of the original crew. Right? If you go look at them, they're literally like somebody cosplaying the original crew from Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3.
Cosplay edition.
Yeah, that's what it's like. It's like so weird, man.
It's so crazy to me still. Just speaking of Bioware real quick, that because it was like one of my favorite game studios of all time. But it's been that long since Andromeda and Anthem that we've had a real big actual new Bioware release.
Yeah, and nobody's there anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy.
All the originals are gone now.
We got the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which was great. Yes. They did a fantastic job with that. But like, where's it's a shame what's happened to some of these like legendary studios. Overall, but we'll see. Maybe they'll make a recovery. Some of these big studios have made big recoveries, right? We saw what happened with Infinity Ward a long time ago. Right, they became a shell of themselves after Jason West and Vincent Pella and Robert Bowling and a lot of those teams left Infinity Ward, and it was like, well, Infinity Ward's just a name. Then they released Call of Duty Ghost, and it was like, yeah, okay. But then it came out to where eventually they got to Modern Warfare 2019, and it was like they're the top tier studio again for Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Right. So maybe things can turn around for BioWare. Maybe things can turn
I hope so.
For Rocksteady as well. We'll see.
I hope so. I would like nothing more than the new Mass Effect to come out and be a actual Mass Effect game to me again. I mean, I would love that, right? And I hope for all the hardcore Dragon Age fans out there that this next one also lives up to your expectations.
Yeah,
this isn't the final kind of call for BioWare.
I'm a big Dragon Age guy. It's been too long. I mean, it was literally the launch. it was one of the launch year games for the last gen consoles.
Yep.
We're 2 years into the new generation now,
Mm-hmm.
and still no new Dragon Age game.
Right.
And at that game, the last game in Dragon Age won a lot of Game of the Year awards. Dragon Age Inquisition won a lot
crazy.
of Game of the Year.
I like the multiplayer.
Yeah, the multiplayer's fun. You know,
I played more multiplayer than anything because it was looter.
Yeah. I remember it was a down year that year for games.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was going against some other not as big games or whatever. I think it scored in the 80s or low 90s. Right? I can't remember exactly, but it was a different take for Dragon Age. It was more of a action game than the past ones, which were more true to the CRPG roots a little bit, right? But I'm curious what they're going to do with this new one, right? I have a lot of hope because franchise has a lot of heart to it,
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
we'll see what happens. Dragon Age, Mass Effect, come on,
Origins I really liked, 100%.
Yeah,
Origins was really good. Yeah, Origins was really good. Just I don't know, just couldn't get into it. I don't know what it is. I liked it. Like there were certain parts of it I really liked. There was always just something else I wanted to play, I guess, outside of it. So it was just one of those things. But we do hope for BioWare. Man, we got over 100 people in here again, rocking out with us. Thank you all for joining us. If you've got a moment, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed and you like what you're hearing here, again, this is what you can kind of expect from all of Fun Speculation Network shows. They all have a different identity to them, but we have a great time. No matter who's on panel, no matter how big the panel is, we're always having a good time here. So please hit the subscribe button. If you got a moment, share it out as well. You help the algorithm, which has been working overtime for the Fun Speculation Network. Again, approaching 3K here. Mav has seen exponential growth over the past year and a half. So, which is fantastic. And that's due to all of your help with this process as well. So thank you all for being here. I'm going to shout out some people, and then Mav, we do have a sponsor, don't we?
Yes, we do. You want to get to that? You want to shout out the chat first, real quick?
Shout out the chat first, and then we'll get you your sponsor, so you get that ready to rock and roll, and then we'll get into the rest of the show here. So Razor NZ, what is going on? Caitlin, what is happening? Psycho Knots, what's going on, brother? Tony Grasso, what's going down? Poison Maniac, Splendiferous is in the house. What's going on, Splend? Talos Ray, always good to see you, my friend. Guardian Black, you as well. Thank you always for joining our chats. Who else we got in here? Nope. General Spartan 27. What's going on? I see you, Jigga J. What's going on, brother? Great to have you a part of our show as well. Sky L, what is going on? Great to have you in the chat. Decado is in the house. What's going on, Decado? And of course, the legend himself, who I already mentioned, Dragonheart Yobi, legendary human being, one of the most positive people in the community you will ever find. Go follow Dragonheart.
Yeah.
Alvin, what's going on, Alvin? Great to see you in here as well. Bellantone, what's happening? Roshan Eppinger, what's going on? Why so serious is in the house as well. Great to see you. Of course, Nick's. It wouldn't be a chat without Nick showing up and saying what's going on. Hellhammer 13 says hello, all. Hello back to you. Thanks for joining us, Hellhammer. Camp Easy. What is going on, Camp Easy? Masshole 1977, of course, is dropping in. Carl Andrews Jr. That reminds me of Carl's Jr.'s, the old burger shop.
Don't make me hungry.
I know, right?
The last time we ate Carl's Jr., though, we had the worst stomach bug we've ever had before in our lives.
Really?
Both me and Kate got it. It was
really?
nasty. It was bad.
Sucks.
Yeah, it was really bad. 24-hour thing, you know.
Oof, nasty. Carl Andrews Jr., though, thank you for dropping on in here. Spider-Man 356, of course, saying what's up. Vertung Mogam. I hope I did not butcher that, sir. If I did, I apologize. Vertung Mogam. Thank you for being on in here. Swift. What's going on, Swift? We got King J79 in the house as well. Who else? We got, of course, the one, the only Fuzzy Belvedere. Brother, what's going down? Great to have you a part of our show as always. Who else is in here? Jason Max. What's happening? Who else do I see in here? I think I got the blue one. Of course, the blue one shows up in here. What's going on, the blue? And Stuff Sean, who already sent us that super chat earlier. Stuff Sean, great to see you, brother. Isaac Gentry's in the house as well. That's as far back as I can go. Did I miss anybody down here? Ray Oid, what's going on, man? Great to have you a part of the show as well. Ghost Fixter's in here. Thank you all for joining us. If I missed you or if you're lurking, does not matter. Appreciate you listening in, tuning in, whether live or whether you're doing this in the future. Thank you. Nothing but love and respect for coming out and supporting the show and the channel and all the shows that you guys always show up in chat for. So thank you for being here. Matt, you got a great sponsor, of course, for this Fun Speculation Network. What's going on?
Yeah, man. First, real quick, I did miss a membership message from Alvin, member for 9 months. Appreciate you, Alvin. Thanks for being here as well. He said 2023 will be the greatest year in gaming history.
Certainly looking like
very well
already.
could be. I'm having a blast. I'll tell you that. But yes, we do have a sponsor, and our sponsor is none other than Manscaped. Manscaped.com. Thank you to our sponsor, and thanks to everybody listening to this right now. Now, everybody, did you know spring has sprung, and our friends at Manscaped have the best tools for some spring cleaning. They've already helped you tidy up all the nooks and crannies of your body's basement. But this year, Manscaped can help you get the perfect presentation on that beautiful face with a new Beard Hedger Pro Kit. Make sure you look your best this spring by using code FUNSPECULATION to get 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. Again, everybody, that's 20% off and free shipping with code FUNSPECULATION at manscaped.com. Focus on the face and use the Beard Hedger Pro Kit for the cleanest look in the game. That's right. Also, they do have other stuff too. So if you like boxers, they got really good boxers. They got lotions and conditioner
Deodorants.
things and ball deodorants and stuff like that. So, if you got some stank, you can put some ball deodorant on it, and that'll make you feel a little bit more confident when you're when you got to sit close to people.
If you didn't have time, take that shower, squirt a little bit on, you feel fresh again. I just used my Beard Hedger this morning, in fact.
Did you? Nice.
0.5. The 0.5 gets it down, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's what I accidentally shaved my head with like a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Yeah, man. Just put that ball deodorant in your pocket, and every once in a while you can just pull your pants up and just give yourself a little spritz.
Yeah. Or if you're at the club and all of a sudden you're on your way home with somebody you weren't expecting to be on your way home with, well, you got to freshen up because you've been sweating all night.
Yeah.
Got to get it fresh.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
There you go. and then she'll ask, why do your balls smell like Drakkon War?
Jesus. Say that's my natural smell.
That's just how I am.
That natty smell.
That's what I secrete, baby. I just ooze masculinity. Let's go.
Right. Caitlin, do not commit me to anything that involves your mind, woman. She says if 10 people confirm they ordered Pog will demo the razor, not the beard one. I will use the other one on my face as well. That's what I'll do.
There you go.
Show you it works there as well.
Yeah.
All right, man. So you kind of mentioned it. Let's start here. It is a big beta weekend. Actually starts tonight. I think Mav's going to be streaming. Steel's going to be trying to stream. We might have a co-stream going on. We'll see how that goes down. But we got one giant game, and then one game that, to me, I've been hyped about for a long time. Yeah. But it's getting more notice now. It's getting more traction as people, and this beta is going to go a long way because it is an open beta. So, of course, number one, the big game we're talking about, the closed beta, you have to pre-order or order from KFC to get into Diablo 4, right? Diablo 4 runs this weekend, starting tomorrow, I believe, right, Mav? 17th through the 19th?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
17th through the 19th, yeah.
And this is if you pre-ordered the game or if you bought a chicken sandwich from KFC.
Correct. So that's the giant one. Mav, now you can actually download it if you've pre-ordered or if you get the code. I think Psycho said he spent $2.30 on a chicken sandwich. They email it to you, so you don't even have to go pick up the chicken sandwich if you don't want to, if you don't even want the sandwich, but you don't feel like pre-ordering the game yet. Go do that. But you can actually download the demo now, which I've installed. You can actually log in and it actually tries to connect to servers. So a lot of people were freaked out today thinking they had gone live early. Well, that hasn't happened yet, but the menu screen, classic Diablo, bro. Classic.
Yeah.
Even the music and the background noises is just fantastic. I'm so excited for this game. And now that I know Starfield isn't going to be here until September, now that I know I'm going to have months to be able to commit to Diablo 4, now I'm back. Again, this was my second most hyped game this year. Man, for you, what are you looking forward to checking out specifically this weekend on the beta? What do you think you're going to dive into? Is there a class that you want to try out? This weekend, you get Barbarian, Rogue, and Sorcerer, I believe.
Yeah.
Next weekend, they're also going to open up Necromancer and which one am I? Druid? I think Druid.
Yeah.
Necromancer and Druid are going to be open next weekend. What do you think you're going to do this weekend? What are you going to focus on?
Either Sorcerer or Rogue. I haven't. What are you leaning towards?
Those are my two. I'm not a barbarian dude.
Exactly.
So like my
the barbarian
classic,
guys I stay away from, right?
Before Necro came out for Diablo 3, right? I was always a sorcerer, right? Diablo 3 is the first time I played Necro. And I love Necro because I like Necro in Path of Exile because you can build your own army, basically. I love having an army of skeletons and shit around me at all times. That's my jam. But I was always a sorcerer before that. You give me magic. However, Rogue has got me interested because of the skill sets that they're giving Rogue. And as that support type character, that backstabbing character that comes in and does critical damage while, all the enemies are focused on the barbarian and whatever else. It's got me interested now. So those are my two. So I don't know which way I'm going to go this weekend either.
Yeah. I'm probably leaning towards Rogue.
Okay.
But I kind of want to try both of them. The issue is that this beta is also with Exoprimal, right?
Correct.
And for me, it's like I know I'm gonna buy and play the shit out of Diablo, right? Yeah. Exoprimal, even though I don't have to buy it because it's gonna be in Game Pass day one.
Correct.
It's like I don't know 100%. I'm more curious because I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? Like I know what it looks like. It is, but I kind of have an idea of how Diablo is gonna feel and play. I know what Diablo is all about. Right. So this whole new IP thing with Exoprimal has me a little bit more intrigued to try the beta more. And I'll be trying to split my time with two. I think Psycho's hooking me up with an extra beta code from his chicken sandwich tray that he got, I guess. I don't know how many chicken sandwiches he's been getting from KFC, but he's got me an extra code, it looks like. So thanks to Psycho for that. I was one of the ones that's been holding out, hoping that the game actually, the ABK deal gets closed before Diablo, right? So, but we'll see what happens with that. I will get Diablo day one, regardless. And your progress does not carry over, from what I understand, correct?
Correct, but you do earn the in-game items if you
if you hit level 20 on any one character, or do you have to hit it on like multiple?
No, you just have to hit it on one character.
Okay.
So and the progress will carry over from this. The progress will carry over from this weekend to next weekend. So if you're in this one, the level, if you hit level 10 this week, next week when you join the open, you will be at level 10.
Yeah. And when does that go live? When does Diablo beta go live? Tomorrow, like in the afternoon?
Tomorrow. I don't remember what time it is. I think they did post something. I think I did share that somewhere in the chat. I can look for it real quick. But so yeah, it goes live tomorrow. I think it is afternoon sometime. Which sucks because I'm gonna be at freaking work.
Yeah.
Like to stay home and play some beta, but that ain't gonna happen. I gotta get to work. But yeah, so that beta goes live tomorrow, 17th through the 19th. The Exoprimal, which Matt just brought up, which I was gonna bring up, goes live in about 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes here. It goes live. Now Capcom and their servers are not always up to par out the gate. We'll put it that way.
They don't do multiplayer stuff as often as some of these other companies do, right?
So we'll see how this goes tonight, how many people are going to jump in, but this is an open beta. So again, anybody can jump into this. Crossplay is enabled. So you're going to be playing with everybody. Exoprimal, again, for me, I was hyped from the beginning I saw it. Of course, I wanted Dino Crisis remake, and of course, the disappointment when we saw the dinosaurs and we saw the redheaded girl was, oh, this isn't actually Dino Crisis. But then as I watched this game, the Anthem-style suits that you're wearing, now that I know that there's 10 of them on top of it, the amount of dinosaurs on the screen at the same time, it being PvE VP and allowing me to become a T-Rex and go mess with the other team. Again, this is speaking all my language.
Yeah,
here,
it just
Matt.
looks like
Battle
crazy
Pass,
nonsense.
nonsense. This is old school Capcom, and they're actually trying to put a story in it.
Yeah, this is what Anthem should have been.
Yeah, this is what Anthem should have been. But this is old school Capcom. This is Lost Planet days. This is when they came up with crazy IP.
Yeah.
Where you were like, okay, well, we really didn't need a story with this, but you're giving me a story anyways. And it's interesting because Capcom stories are always interesting. Like, even if they don't make sense, even if they're just ridiculous, they're still fun. And this game looks like that. Now, we'll see, because I am going to check out both betas this weekend as well. And I'm definitely, like I said, hopping into Exoprimal tonight after the show, because I do want to see, Mav, if it's living up to what I have in my mind that this game is going to be, or if it is just a, okay, well, it's probably not going to have a long-lasting kind of, it's not going to have a lot of legs to it. It's going to get boring really fast. That's my biggest question is how, and I don't even know if it's going to be answered through the beta because I don't know how much they're going to give us in the beta, but I want to see how many different kind of mechanics are introduced and how many different environments we get. If it's just nonstop raptors that are dropping out of the sky like over and over and over again, or if there's more to it in between there. That's what I'm curious about for Exoprimal, but this is a big beta weekend. So
yeah, I think probably more people will be playing betas this weekend than a lot of the games that they own. I also, here's the other thing. I only have 7 days to try out Anno. If I decided if I want to buy that also.
Right.
So for me, I want to take advantage of that 7 days as well, because I am a sucker for strategy games. Sometimes
multiplayer as well. Mav.
Is it really?
Yes.
Like co-op?
Yes, up to eight people or something like that. You can actually battle it all out. If you want to battle, you can co-op and combine forces. You can do all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
What era are we in now? This is the most amazing era of gaming for all these like big strategy games and stuff to be hitting consoles, man.
Right.
God, so great.
Much.
But just this last week, we got announcements of City Skylines 2. Right,
yes.
A Civilization 6 I think is hitting Game Pass, right?
It's already in Game Pass. I've got it downloaded. Haven't tried it yet.
I haven't got it installed also. Then we got the Anno 1800 coming to consoles. Dude, it's glorious. It's just glorious, man. It's like
it is
everything we hoped for this generation could be is coming to fruition in its a little over second year now.
Yes, so. I know. It's crazy, and we're gonna get more. Because the success of all this stuff is what's driving it. The success.
It's crazy. Success on these games.
I know.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? There would be an audience for that. Who would have thought?
I don't. Again, we're getting Age of Wonders 4 this summer as well. Age of Wonders 4 is a great freaking strategy game. It's only been on PC. We got the breakaway games. We got Planetfall, which is a spinoff, but we've never gotten a mainline Age of Wonders either. And of course, one of my favorite publishers, Paragon, is bringing it to console now because they've seen success with Xbox specifically.
Yeah, and we're also getting
these types of games.
Age of Mythology too. At some point,
I don't know about console out the gate.
No, it probably won't be out the gate. They'll do like an Age of Empires 4 thing.
Yeah, because we're getting Age 4 later this year. It wouldn't make sense to bring
unless the Xbox and Microsoft sees that there is an audience for this stuff. So let's go ahead and do the extra work.
That would be Age 2, Age of Mythology, and Age 4 all in the same year on console.
Well, is Age Mythology this year or next year?
I think it's coming to PC this year, isn't it not?
I thought
that's what I thought it was. I thought Age of Mythology was already in production and they were expected to drop this year on PC. I could be wrong about that.
I have no idea.
It might be a next year title.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. That's a good question. Yeah, it's amazing, dude. I can't wait to try. And then we get like the mother of all looter dungeon crawlers with Diablo. Right, like but this year's just amazing, absolutely amazing.
It's insane. It is, and I saw I got to jump into Vulcan came out. I advertised Vulcan on Living Split Screen.
Did you have a chance to catch Tidbit's segment on FSP this Monday?
No, I did not.
We were doing through the games coming out this week, and then Vulcan came up. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
I was like, yes. So like, what is this game? And I like
yes.
replayed the trailer like 3 times. Like everything else was like, okay. Then I saw that game. I was like, yes, give me that. So then I saw I saw it in the store just now. Man, there's too many.
$40.
It's too many
$40 I know, too
games
many
though,
freaking
man.
games,
Like,
man, but it looks so good.
it does.
It's a double A. Like, it doesn't even have like the best ratings on PC. I looked it up and I watched some gameplay of it. But it looks right up my alley. I
Yeah.
love double A action RPGs that are Diablo wannabes. I love them, and Vulcan looks amazing. The skill tree is giant in that game. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
I mean,
yes.
even just the fact that still we're getting those kind of games even
Yes.
from even these smaller teams on console.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Like,
Yes. This is all the
love it.
stuff that missed last gen. A lot of it missed
Yeah.
last gen.
But I think the closest thing last gen we got like was like games like Van Helsing.
Yes.
You know,
which was really good.
It was.
I actually really I beat Van Helsing 1. I gotta still play through 2
Yeah.
and 3 yet, but yeah, I beat 1. It was good. But yeah, it's like if you look at last gen, it just feels like already this gen, after this year, all the games we're getting, it feels like it's already beating last gen. Like, it's just crazy how many games we're getting and the quality.
Yeah. Especially this when the first party pipeline's really flowing soon.
Right.
I mean, we've
Soon.
already gotten a couple this year.
Yes.
The smaller ones, right? But I mean, this heavy hitters are coming right down the road. And I mean, if we want to segue into this, I guess you could say Ghostwire Tokyo could be something, you know, from an Xbox with Game Pass. A lot of people haven't played it. It didn't sell that well on PlayStation originally anyway. But maybe this is a second win for it, and was getting extra content. It's getting ray tracing if anybody cares about that. But it looks like maybe with this extra content and stuff in this Game Pass Day 1, it's also hitting PlayStation Plus extra. Maybe it's gonna be a little bit of a second life for that game.
It might be. Let me read a little article and kind of detail what's all coming to it. So again, if you guys didn't know, Ghostwire Tokyo finally was announced of when it's going to come to Xbox, and of course that's because of the contract with PlayStation. And they also announced when it's going to be hitting Game Pass, and that is April the 12th. Everybody, April the 12th, Ghostwire Tokyo is going to be here, and it features a new Spider's Thread mode, new areas, and much more. I'm going to read from Xbox Era. Shout out to Xbox Era. Jesse Norris over there wrote this article. Ghostwire Tokyo finally has a release date on Xbox, April 12th, 2023. Will be hitting Game Pass Day 1 on Xbox Series consoles and the Windows Store. This is similar to a 1 year plus wait period we saw with Deathloop, as Sony locked up the Tango Gameworks title for the first year on PS5. The game released to solid reviews, and Xbox Era should have one ready to go for the Xbox version closer to launch. Alongside the Xbox version's release will be a bevy of new content. Spider's Thread. This is a new game mode set outside of the main story. Players must work through a 30-stage gauntlet from a pool of 120 total levels. Each stage has unique challenges, but they all have the same goal: make it to the end. New areas and additional story content. There will be more areas added to the game, such as the local middle school. The new areas have additional missions for players to complete. Cutscenes in the main campaign are extended as well to give further detail and context to what's going on. New enemies and player skills. There will be new enemy types such as Invisible Silent Gaze and Retribution enemy type. Your character will gain the new Charge, Rush, and Counterattack skills to help combat these new foes. All these changes will be available in the PS5 and PC versions of the game that was released in March of last year as well. The full press release is copied below for your convenience. So,
free update for those players. That's nice, right?
You know, this is what we've talked about this too, man. It's kind of a good conversation to have while we're talking about Ghostwire Tokyo. I've been waiting on Ghostwire Tokyo. Again, I don't look at reviews. I look at the game, the style of game. Sure, it's a little horror-esque, but again, you give me special abilities and superpowers and all that kind of stuff to fight these things, and you put it like in a neon set kind of city, gorgeous. I'm going to play this game, and I think I'm going to enjoy this game a lot. We'll see once I get my hands on it. But Mav, the other thing to consider here is, listen, folks, in this age, this golden age of gaming that we are in, right? And everybody talks about how big their libraries are, backlogs, whatever you want to call yours, and how many games are dropping. I just want to reiterate again, Mav, and I will have you speak on it too. If you can get over your FOMO, you don't have to do it for every game, obviously.
Yeah.
If you can get over your FOMO, And whether right, wrong, or indifferent, we've had these conversations about where gaming is and the digital age and patches and games coming out broken and all that kind of stuff. And Ghostwire Tokyo didn't even come out broken at all. Like there was the usual small problems here and there, and they
Yeah.
patched it. But if you wait 6 months to a year on a game, you will not only get that game cheaper, you will have the best experience for that game. Because that's what happens nowadays on a majority, I would say, of these titles that come out outside of the indies, outside of your smaller games. Your bigger games get better with age. So playing them on day one, while I totally understand it, it's FOMO, all that stuff. I got rid of most of my FOMO. Like, but if you try to tell me to wait on like something like Starfield, I'd laugh in your face. Okay, I'm not gonna wait on Starfield. I don't care. But the point being is that a lot of these games, and we've got so much to play, it's okay not to play day one if it's just a game where you're like, do I really need this? If it's FOMO that's biting you, I say get over it. You're going to save yourself money. You're going to get the best experience 6 months to a year from now when you go back to play this game. I'm just telling you, I don't know, Mav, about you, but the more I see this stuff, like we're getting the best. We got the best version of Deathloop when it came over. Now we're getting the best version of Ghostwire Tokyo with all this additional content, like legit additional content. Like I don't see why not to wait on a lot of games nowadays.
Yeah, it's seeming more and more like it, especially with how buggy and like lacking a lot of the titles have been.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me though, man. Like,
right. Oh no, I know you're a big FOMO guy. I know.
Like it's hard. It's hard. I see the excitement. I want to be part of the conversation. You know what I mean? I want to be able to talk about this stuff and talk about my experiences with the game. And sometimes what happens is I play a game for a few hours and then I don't touch it again because it didn't grab me, right? For whatever reason. Or it's
I tried so hard to talk you out of it.
I know you did. I still think it's a fun game, even though it's got its definite issue.
I played on that free to play weekend for 20 hours. It's a fun overall game.
But the main part of this that I do agree with you, especially on, is there's so much more to play now, right? That it's not like before. I remember even like last gen at times, or like especially before that, there was probably, you could look at like, hey, there's like 5 or 6 games you're excited about playing that year, right? And you would like wait for that next one, and then you'd wait for that next one, and in the meantime, you'd try little things here and there sometimes, right? But right now, the way it is, it's like every couple weeks there's something I'm excited about, you know, and legitimately, even if it's like, sometimes it's not even because it's a new game. Sometimes it's a game that's getting new content. Like also, we got to talk about Forza Horizon Rally. Like I want to dive into that. I want to try it. Got all this other shit happening this weekend.
Correct.
Right? So it's like, for me, the investment is not necessarily the money anymore, but also I feel like because of things like Game Pass, I'm actually spending less than I used to.
Right.
But I'm playing more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's not as much an investment over dollars. It's more of an investment of time. Right? Like how much time do I have to allocate to these different things? The problem I have is I like to try everything. Right? And it's like, if there's a new experience out there, I'm like, I gotta try it. I gotta see what that's about. And you never know, for me, that game that's going to hit for you and click, you know? But the best thing about this generation so far has been the variety.
Correct.
But that's also horrible for a person like me and you that like so many different genres of games, right? The strategy games, RTS games, the tactics games, the shooters, the RPGs, you know, fighting games. I love fighters as well. There's not many genres that I don't like. So the FOMO gets me strong across multiples, you know. But then if you think about it, a lot of games that I have enjoyed the most over this generation have been games that I've dove into that were not brand new, right? Because I got an update, or this or that, and I just loving my time with it. So yeah, it's good advice. I don't know if I can personally take it, but
it's harder when you podcast too. It's harder when you talk about the content. It does get hard. To, ignore that.
Like
stuff.
the biggest games, right? Like like Hogwarts Legacy, for example. Right. Like I've probably played like 4 hours of it so far. I like the game. I think it's really cool, but like I don't like have the itch to go back into that world. But it's the biggest, hugest game out there. I feel like I gotta like play it and know what it's all about, So I don't. It is a weird place to be into when you are making content and talking about stuff. But man, there's so much to play. There's so much to do. If you're on a budget, just wait on some of these games. Although sometimes for people that wanted to wait a year to play Babylon's Fall,
you're not gonna have that opportunity.
You're not gonna have that opportunity now. But maybe you dodged a bullet at the same time.
Yeah, you probably dodged a bullet.
Right.
So it's just like Anthem, right? I spent $100 on the big edition when Anthem came out.
Yeah.
Which was not in my budget. I was actually holding off on Anthem. I legit.
Well, it was the next big thing from BioWare, Pong.
But I was holding off because I heard the talk and because of how many times they said that you remember all the talk about what they were doing and they were still working on it and like it was going to be a work in progress. There was so much talk around it. I was like, nope, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to wait. And then they did that show with the devs when they blew it up and talked about not only what they already had in the game, but what was coming down the pipeline with Cataclysm and all that kind of stuff. And I got suckered. And I bought it. I bought it. And now, I'm not going to say I had a bad time because I spent like 70 hours in Anthem total. 70, 80 hours. So I'm not going to say I wasted my money on that game, but I just saw it on sale like for $4, right? It's like stupid. It's just situations like that taught me over time. And again, it's not for every game. There's games that I do like Hogwarts Legacy. Like I was so hyped about the game. I trusted the game and I wanted to play it so bad, not just because everybody else was excited about it, but because it was a Harry Potter game, and I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan, but it still captured something in me when I was watching the gameplay. And so there I just trusted myself, and I was like, no, I got to play this game out the gate.
Yeah.
And I put over 40 hours into it the first week. Now I got to go back to it again because other things as me as a grazer, but I did put 40 hours in the first week. So things like that, I still will do. And obviously, again, I bought, Age 2, even though it was on Game Pass. I bought Anno 1800. So there's certain games that I will make exceptions for that rule. But, playing through Shadow Warrior 3 with the current gen patch, like, that's a game. I love Shadow Warrior, right? I put like 80 hours into number 2, right? And beat it. Over 80 hours. Played it on Game Pass, right? And so Shadow Warrior is a franchise I would have loved. But I held off. I didn't get my FOMO. I was like, nope, I'm going to wait on this game. Next thing I know, it's dropping into Game Pass with a current gen patch, and now I get to go play it. Freaking have an amazing time at Shadow Warrior 3 at the best experience possible. A better experience than everybody that bought it day one did. It's just, it's goofy like that nowadays, but it does happen. All the people that waited on Battlefield, again, I bought the Ultimate Edition of Battlefield, right? Spent $120 on Battlefield.
Yeah.
And I had a great time with it. Was it perfect? No, but I had a great time with it. I've had a great time with it since day one. Put it away for a while, came back, had another great time with it, put it away. Now came back. They've fixed so much to it. It's a whole different style game now. It's a freaking amazing time. But I could have waited and got the same experience for like $30 for the Ultimate Edition, right?
Yeah.
So it's things like that. You got to judge for yourself. I just think that nowadays, with the amount of content that's out there, I think everybody, again, if you're in the position where you can buy every single game, by all means, go buy every single damn game. Like, I'm not telling you not to go buy games. I'm just saying that if you're not, don't freak out if you don't play that game day one, especially some of these, bigger publisher games. Chances are you're going to have a better experience down the road. That's all I'm going to say.
Diablo 4 will probably honestly be one of those games.
Oh,
like the way Diablos go, they like a year later, they're way better than they were.
Change systems,
Yeah.
they add things,
so much.
bro. Like, yes.
But there ain't no way in hell
rebalance
I'm not
everything.
playing that game day one.
No,
right?
I pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
The only reason why I pre-ordered it too, right, is because I wanted to get into beta. But I could have gone to KFC and done that. But I just pre-ordered because I knew now with Starfield coming in September, I'm going to buy it. Plus, if you pre-order through the Xbox store, they don't charge your card until like 10 days prior to the launch. So I just did it now.
Right.
So I can get in the beta and do it. But yeah, no, like I'm not waiting on Diablo 4, even if I know it's going to be a better experience. Again, there's certain games where I'm like, no, like I'd never wait on Starfield, even though I know a year from September, Starfield is going to be even better than it is when it launches. I'm not waiting on no Starfield. Are you kidding me right now? Hell no, of course not. So, but yeah, so that was cool. Ghostwire Tokyo, coming out in April the 12th, and it's going to be in Game Pass, of course, with a bunch of additional content. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to try that one out. Again, the games just never stop flowing around here. It's insane.
It's a good time a week before Minecraft Legends too. So it's like, you have
You're not
that.
doing that.
Then you have Minecraft Legends, which looks like a pretty cool strategy game. RTS, like it's crazy.
We're inundated with strategy,
I
man.
know.
Oh my god.
And then after that, you have 3 weeks after that, you have Redfall.
Yeah.
And then a month after Redfall, you have the June showcase era, every year, where we get loads of gaming news for the summer, and then just insane this year.
It's just gonna it's gonna be nonstop. The one game I have decided, Mav, that I'm gonna hold off on, that I am actually really excited about, but I am gonna hold off. I am going to not do FOMO. I'm not gonna buy it out the gate. Is Dead Island 2.
Okay.
So I was day one on that, but with the lineup that you were just talking about and everything else, and not me knowing that that game is going to be even better down the road, and it's a game that I know I can play single player or multiplayer. Again, it's fun both ways, but I played the other Dead Island single player. I know I'm going to get a better experience once it goes on sale and it's down the road when I get over Starfield and all that kind of stuff. Probably early next year, I'll probably dive into Dead Island 2.
Yeah. What's its release date? Is it April? I forget.
April. Yeah. It's April. So I'm not going to do that one. I was going to, because it looks incredible. I love what they did with it. The early reviews are exactly what I expected. Like, it's not earth shattering. It's Dead Island, but updated, right? That's what it is. I'm cool with that because I love Dead Island. But I'm just going to wait on that one. So perfect example of what I was talking about.
Might do the same.
Yeah. Mav, did you see the new Tekken 8 character reveal trailer this week?
Martial law's back.
I gotta talk about this.
Let's go, Bruce Lee.
My boy Bruce. I didn't think they were gonna pull it off. For anybody who doesn't know, the Bruce Lee family has gotten real hardcore. They're going after anybody using his likeness or even similarities, styles, which is their right, as the family. Again, people have been really lax with using Bruce Lee likenesses. Tekken obviously was one of the most obvious ones to us gamers. Again, martial law. I've loved him. I'm a Bruce Lee fan, obviously. Martial law ever since he was introduced in Tekken, my favorite character, right? I used to freaking rock him all the time. I didn't think we were going to get him. A lot of people were speculating that it was going to be Forrest Law, his son, this time around because of the whole Bruce Lee family thing. But anyways, this week, Tekken drops a brand new martial law gameplay trailer. Mav, just not even Marshall himself. Tekken 8 looks like a freaking phenomenal fighter. Like, the graphics are mind-blowing. What did you think when you watched this?
I was watching it and I thought the whole martial law thing was cool, but I was more like you just kind of talked about. I was more enamored with just the game, like the graphics, because let's be honest, the last Tekken isn't very pretty, right? Like it's lacking in some areas. Gameplay is really solid and all that kind of stuff. But I saw this and I'm like, oh baby, they're going all out on this. And we talked about this a long time ago. Certain genres making comebacks this generation too. A fighting genre we can look at it last gen and say that NetherRealm carried the torch in the Xbox One, PS4 era, right? Street Fighter V was okay. You had some other games kind of okay here and there, but I feel like Injustice and Mortal Kombat were the two shining lights for fighting games.
Yes.
And it looks like now, between this and Street Fighter 6 coming out this year, we're in for a treat and a resurgence. And there was a special Nick rumor that started swirling around too that has me potentially excited. But besides that, even if you just look at that trailer and see that pure, because that was just
Yes.
pure gameplay, right?
Yep.
And I was looking at it and just watching it, and I'm like, yes, it is. It is
Yes.
back. It is back, and it's back to what I would hope it could be. You know, we'll see how Street Fighter 6 is. Also, it's looking gorgeous. It's looking great.
Yes.
Completely
different styles.
Yeah,
Completely different
great,
styles.
man.
I think I'm going Tekken first out the gate this year. So Tekken now.
Yeah, those are two that I'm going to be probably having to be day one on. You know,
Right.
But this generation already released one of the best fighting games I've played in a long time, and that's King of Fighters 15.
I know you really liked it. I haven't played it yet.
It's really good.
Liked it.
It's really, really, really good. For a King of Fighters game, I'm not like a big King of Fighters guy, you know. But playing that game, so many characters, like moves, gorgeous, graphics are gorgeous, it's so smooth and fluid. It's an amazing game. But yeah, resurgence of fighting games, man.
Absolutely.
Resurgence of racing games as well. Now Need for Speed Unbound just got more content with the online stuff, and that game's really good. Man, I'm super happy. I'm super happy about this generation. Golden Age of gaming, Pong Soul, yes.
Yeah. And shout out to Infinite Umbra because he's an Unreal stan. He doesn't care about the console wars, but he cares about the engine wars, and he wants everything to be Unreal. Yeah. But Tekken 8 is Unreal 5. Bro, you can see when he flexes and he goes into his flexes and all his muscles rip and then the veins pop out. Oh my god. I was like, you gotta be kidding me right now, man.
Yeah, I did the mocap for that.
Did you?
Yeah.
I could tell.
They had me doing that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I could tell. You've been practicing that a lot in the DMs lately.
Yeah. my workout picture flex whenever I'm at the gym, you know, working out, and I gotta, you know, show it off. You know how good a workout I do. My pucker face, you know.
Oh my god, terrible! You're terrible because you know that's not true. Anyways,
no, it's not. Not at all.
Quick note here. I know there's a lot of old school fans like me of System Shock, which obviously was a precursor to BioShock. System Shock has been there's a remake happening. We were supposed to actually get that early this year. March or April was the original plan. It's coming to PC and consoles. However, they have now delayed that until May and only the PC version. Again, we have another game. This is another thing that's a little concerning this gen so far, Mav. Out of all the excitement we have and all the things that are happening, we've got so many games. There's been quite a few games where PC and console versions are supposed to be coming out together. And then all of a sudden we get closer to launch and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, we've got to hold off on the console versions indefinitely right now. And System Shock is another one. They don't have a date on the console versions, but the PC will be launching in May 30th to be exact. So for all you System Shock fans out there that are waiting on this, again, it was supposed to be March. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be March. And it was supposed to be coming to everything. PC's coming May 30th. They don't know when the console version is going to be out. So if you had that on your wish list for your Xbox or your PlayStation, you're going to have to put that one on the back burner for a while. Just want to get that out.
Sounds like a Dark Tide situation.
Yeah, it does. And that's what I'm saying. And Aura, I mean, we already had Aura do the same thing. Like,
yeah. And if they just gave us updates on Aura, and that game for me, it sounds amazing, but it also sounds like it's still a little far away.
It sounds like they're trying to do a whole lot of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Even beyond the normal strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're trying to do something very complex here.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they're still trying to piece it together and make it all work together. And that's why the console versions were put on indefinite hold and they're focused on the PC. And they're letting the players alpha test this thing to make sure that they're getting things right. So yeah, I imagine Aura for consoles will be a next year release.
I wouldn't even be surprised if the PC releases next year.
That's certainly a possibility.
When they talked about Aura in that dev interview, the interviewer was like, "What can you tell us about the roadmap to launch?" And she was like, "Well, if you want to find out how to be involved with more alpha tests, sign up for this." So because the interviewer was like, "What about betas and things like that?" And the person was like, "Yeah, if you want to find out how to sign up for more alphas, then sign up for this." And I'm like, okay. And how they talk about the changes they were making within that alpha that they just did, it feels like they're still working on quite a bit of things. So I don't know how long it takes maybe they can still hit this year for PC, but
Maybe.
for me, I don't care. We got so much stuff to play.
Oh yeah,
Um,
no. I mean, I got
it
strategy
is what
games
it
coming out.
is.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
it's
and
crazy right now. So
I would honestly, if they took the time, I'd rather them do
no.
it across the
Yeah.
board launch. You know what I mean? But maybe it's not in their
For
cards.
for anybody listening right now or watching right now that doesn't remember this game, it's Aura History Untold. This was the game that was actually announced at the showcase because it's actually uh,
It's published by
uh,
Microsoft.
published by Microsoft. Actually, yeah, it's done by Oxide Games. So this was a partnership that Xbox did. It's a 4X strategy game,
Yeah.
and it actually the concept, according to the trailers, Mav, is that you cross like times and generations between like anybody who's played Civ understands, right? As you evolve the generations, you get new tech, all that kind of stuff. But this one feels like you can combine like different cultures together and create your own culture as you go through the ages. Like you could partner up like Egyptians and let's say, early, like you could say like Crusader time European culture. Like you can combine those two together and create some kind of new
Yeah.
culture. Like it's very interesting. And again, like Mav
It's like a
said,
mix of civilization
yes,
slash anno 1800 almost. I don't even know,
kind
man. It's like crazy.
kind of it's
Yeah.
crazy. And like I said, if you go watch what Mav was talking about or go read about their alpha testing that they just did, there's a lot of complex things going on in this game that we probably haven't seen before to this level by the sounds of it. And they're trying to get it all to work. And it seems like it is going to take a lot more testing to get this thing done. But I'm excited for it whenever it shows up. But like Mav said, we got enough to play right now.
Yeah.
And again, even strategy games this year, Company of Heroes 3 comes out for console this year too, man. I mean, we're
Oh, I forgot. My God, I'm still holding out hope for a Game Pass Day 1 announcement for that. We'll see if that happens.
That would be really cool. But we've gotten a lot. I was surprised Age of Wonders 4 didn't show up in Game Pass. I thought that was for sure going to be one, but it's all right. We got City Skylines 2 in Game Pass. I'll take that. That's a trade off. I'm going to buy Age of Wonders 4. So, all right. Where should we hop to next here, Mav? Again, this week has been kind of goofy, man.
Yeah. We do have a $2 super chat from John TJ. Says, hi, guys. Hi, Drawn TJ. How are you doing?
Hi, Drawn TJ. What's going on, brother? Great to have you in here. Let's see here. So, well, let's talk about what's going on with ABK and kind of stuff that's happening. We got some release of documents, some of the responses from the CMA, but let's start with this, Mav. We have seen Microsoft basically being the Oprah Winfrey right now of console manufacturers and giving out 10-year deals to everybody who wants one. And this week we got two more announcements. Of course, we had NVIDIA and Nintendo, which were huge. But, the CMA, one of their main contention points about this whole deal is the cloud gaming sector, which we all know, or anybody who pays attention knows, that the cloud gaming sector is like the most unstable, unknown out of all the gaming sectors out there. Nobody knows how this thing's going to go. Nobody knows if cloud gaming is even going to become a thing, but the CMA has decided to focus on this. In fact, the CMA gave Microsoft a list of what they consider competition within the cloud space. And it was a list of both big, like Amazon Luna, to small. So what does Microsoft start doing here? Well, they start handing out 10-year deals to whoever wants one, whether you've heard of these companies or not. So earlier this week, we got Phil and Microsoft announcing and Phil came out and his tweet was, players deserve more choice than they have now when it comes to their favorite games. Today, we've signed a 10-year deal with Boosteroid, Maine, enabling players to stream Xbox PC games, including Activision Blizzard PC titles like Call of Duty, following the close of the deal. So Boosteroid Maine is one. And then today, Mav, we get, or was it yesterday? Which was it today or yesterday? I forget. My days are running together now.
I think it was yesterday. Was
it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. Yesterday, Phil comes out with another tweet and announces Microsoft and Ubitus,
I think.
Ubitus, yes, a leading cloud gaming provider, have signed a 10-year partnership to stream Xbox PC games as well as Activision Blizzard titles after the acquisition closes. Our commitment to give more players more choice. Phil's having to go to the well to rewrite his same paragraphs over and over again on Twitter. It's kind of funny. Mav, what do you, again, Ubisoft, for anybody who doesn't know, has partnered with Nintendo to bring some of their cloud games over. So it's not like they're a nobody, but nobody's heard of Boosteroid Main or Ubisoft until this week, right? Let's be real. Outside of the hardcore industry or somebody who's dealing with this stuff, nobody's heard of these two. But it seems like, Mav, that Xbox is going the extra mile here to shore up all the narratives that the CMA is throwing at them, especially this cloud one. It seems like they're really focused on this cloud gaming, like behind the scenes. This is just my opinion of this, and I don't know if you agree or not, but it seems like with these deals, and Brad Smith said this week also, there are going to be more announcements as well coming down the pipeline, that behind the scenes, behind the closed doors with the CMA, when they've been talking about remedies, that it seems like the CMA might have been putting a more emphasis on the cloud side of things than anything else. And that's why Xbox seems to be just like, hey, we're giving away 10-year deals. Come on over, whoever wants one. Is that what you're thinking here? Well, did anything stand out about this?
Also, they, for the phase they're in with the whole thing with the CMA and the EC, they're kind of in that like remedy phase right now, talking about these things. So I would think they have like some answers about what they want, you know?
Right.
So based on that, that's why we're seeing a lot of these announcements, because they're checking the boxes, you know? I don't know how many deals are going to get done, but it seems like they have more to offer. They've already done the two of the biggest ones with NVIDIA and Nintendo, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's 4 different ones they've announced separately so far, with more on the way. Everybody's on board with, except for Sony, it seems like, with getting these deals. And we'll talk more about that in a little while, I imagine. But it's like, it's like, I feel like the CMA thing, the more that comes out about this, is more of a done deal than a lot of people think.
Okay.
Based on this.
Right.
I mean, it did come out that they were like, Microsoft's not happy with the CMA's like findings on the numbers or whatever potential impact or stuff like that. But like, I think that's just more of an argument's sake over semantics and stuff, over the impact of the industry, and they're trying to quash that. But besides that, like, the remedies have been, when they left the door open, the CMA did, even a crack, right? A crack in the door. Microsoft's opening it, right? Well, this is how, you know, first off, we'll let you choose what third-party company you want us to hire to oversee this, to make sure we abide by these agreements. We're going out and providing binding agreements for all these different companies, and even the little guys, right? And now you say, right, some of these companies we've never heard of, right? I never heard of Boosteroid, which is has ties to the Ukraine or whatever.
Right.
I never heard of them. I never heard of Ubisoft or however you say it before either. But for me, that's almost an important thing.
Correct.
Because part of this is strengthening competition, which also means propping up the small guy, the small business, the smaller companies, right? To give them a chance as well, so you don't dominate the industry and box them out. So as the growing young cloud business that there is, right, where it's like only a small fraction of the total gaming revenue in the industry, where Microsoft has a strong foothold, providing a tree branch, right, to these smaller companies and saying, hey, you're going to be able to sell our games on your platform, is a strong asset for those companies to help them grow.
Correct.
So taking that away could actually be bad for competition. Right. So Microsoft is going and they're checking all these boxes, but doing so in some smart ways, where these companies now, because of this deal, will be stronger than they were previously. Right. Games like Starfield and Call of Duty being able to sell on their cloud services, be pretty damn strong ability for them to do so, right? As opposed to not having those games, especially with Call of Duty, when you have the microtransactions and everything like crazy. So I feel like Microsoft's being smart with putting all the arguments have been made against them, flipping them on their head and proving that those are going to be strengths for this deal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I feel like the more it comes to it, I feel like it's more and more of a done deal, because I feel like this is like what the CMA wanted, right? And that's what they're appeasing for the most part, and the EC.
Yeah, it's the win that we talked about, that all the grandstanding was about, right? That all these regulatory bodies, at the end of the day, even if they realized they really didn't have a case, they were going to grandstand to get a W out of this, to say that we stood up to Microsoft and look at what we got from them. They made all these commitments. And it seems like Xbox, as you and I and many others talked about many, many times way back, Mav, Microsoft was more than happy to have Call of Duty become the sacrificial lamb in all this, to be the one shining point that everybody focused their attention on. That makes it easy for Microsoft. Now, they've gone out of their way to include, Xbox PC games, all Activision Blizzard PC games, because ultimately they've been telling the truth this entire time. They want to expand their market. They don't want to shrink their market. And Phil understands exclusivity is still a point that needs to happen for the console space. But when you get outside the console space, which is what this Activision Blizzard deal is actually really about, again, as much as people want to focus on the other stuff, this is actually about them expanding their PC and mobile. And I'm going to get to mobile here in a second as well. But the mobile sector is the next big battle. But we talked about this all along, Matt. When this started getting down and dirty and the regulatory bodies started coming out and Sony was out here screaming about Call of Duty, talked about it many, many times. Microsoft is like, fine. Go ahead, focus all your attention on Call of Duty. We never had any intentions of making Call of Duty exclusive anyway. But if you wanted to fight over that, let's go. We'll just give you whatever within reason. I mean, they're not going to give them a in perpetuity contract, but they're like, nah, we'll haggle over Call of Duty all day long while we take the rest of the treasure home with us. Because that's what this deal's really about at the end of the day. Just give people some idea about the smaller companies, about all the companies that we're talking about. And I got one more question for you on this, Matt, before we move on. This is the list that the CMA supposedly gave Microsoft as far as the actual competition within the cloud field. And it's NVIDIA GeForce, which already taken care of. Facebook Gaming, which we know Microsoft has cut a deal to introduce some of their games to the Meta, right? Mm-hmm. So we will see where that goes. Google Stadia. Too bad, Google, you hopped out too early. You could have got a 10-year deal if you wanted one, but you hopped out too early.
Didn't they? They just announced something new. Google did recently. I think.
They?
Yeah, I forget what it's called.
I don't know. I didn't see that.
It's Google something.
Are they?
And I think it's just going to maybe a way to play your game, buy games in the cloud again. I can't remember exactly what they did, but they just announced something.
Okay. Well, maybe they'll get a 10-year deal too.
It wasn't like a big announcement. It was like
no. I was going to say, because I didn't hear about this, but interesting. They said they were going to take their tech elsewhere, so it's certainly possible, right? PlayStation Now, Nintendo Switch Online, got the Nintendo deal done. Shadow, which I've never heard of. Shadow, Amazon Luna, Antstream Arcade, never heard of it. Boosteroid, hey, we just heard about Boosteroid. Boosteroid's taken care of. Utomic, Black Nut, GameStream, and WizTV. That's
WizTV. That'll be Monday's announcement. WizTV.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, Matt, I want to kick this back to you real quick. Speculation Town. Before this is all said and done, do we have a deal with Amazon to bring this stuff to Luna?
That'll be the big one, right? Because that's like, people say, well, Microsoft, who are they competing with? They're competing with Amazon, Apple, and bigger tech companies like this, right? So that's going to be the curious thing for me, because they actually have competing cloud infrastructures.
Correct.
Right? So that's the biggest thing. If any of them don't get checked, it would be Luna. If they do that, that's big, in my opinion. Like, that would be a huge boost for Luna as well, right? But yeah, I don't know, man. It's tough to say. I feel like Amazon is really trying to figure out the games industry right now. They're really doing a lot of different things. They've done their deals with like Nexon and it brought games over to be published in the West by Amazon. Now they're starting to do their own publishing, even bringing games to console as well, like Tomb
Correct.
Raider
Yep.
and stuff like that. So they're trying to do a lot of different things. They have their Luna service, which I've never used. I don't know how good it is. I think most people that use it probably like it enough. I don't know, but um, I feel like Xbox being the largest, probably cloud gaming network right now, throwing a bone even to Amazon would be a big that'd be a big olive branch. That's you're talking
Yeah.
about like crossing big tech to big tech at that point, you know,
Correct.
competition to competition, and real competition, right? So I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'd love to see it. I don't have any problems with it. I think that if Amazon, um, and the question is like, what does Amazon want? Also, like, would they just allow that, or they want to
Right.
stay have it their own things and their own deals? And the interesting thing about Amazon, though, where I could see it happen, that where I would see Amazon would potentially want this, is because it completely fits within what they do with their Prime services and their
Mhm.
subscriptions. Because if you like log on to Amazon Prime Video, you can sign up for like everything within there, right? HBO,
Right.
Paramount Plus, everything right from the Prime Video app, and you can add them all
Well
on,
said.
right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's where I think gaming could get to
Mhm.
eventually. You just have your service and you just add them on, add them on, add them on.
Microsoft
So
wants.
could Luna add on the Xbox Cloud Gaming service? The
Right.
interesting thing that's different with gaming versus like the movies and TVs is there's a lot of crossovers with games, right? Where like same third party publisher games might be on both services and they may not want to sell.
That was yeah.
So that's the
That was
sticking point. That's the
that
interesting
was the
thing there.
discussion when we used to talk about Game Pass going to PlayStation, right?
Right.
How do you do that
Right.
when there's
It's
third party? Like
different.
you'd have
Yeah.
it'd have to be a curated list of titles, right?
And so that
So
would be the curious thing. It would be more complicated, I feel
right,
like. Whereas like these other services, they're just like, yeah, like bring it on,
right,
right?
right.
Amazon is like, we want to sell this game in our service. We don't want Xbox to be able to sell the game in their service, right? So
Right.
because there's game purchases within this. It's not just
Mhm.
subscription, right? So it's really interesting. I don't know how it's going to work. I think it'd be for the best for everybody if they can figure out ways to make that kind of stuff work.
Right.
Question is, if that happens, well, eventually there'll be a Luna app on the Xbox, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, it opens up possibilities, really interesting possibilities. Um, for me, thinking that Amazon has not challenged this deal whatsoever as well makes me think that they want to be open to making acquisitions of their own to strengthen their own catalog,
100%. 100%.
right? So for them, I don't know if it's about it being open ecosystem between Amazon and Xbox. It's about building their own catalog. So I don't know, man. That's a great question.
Yeah.
I'm curious your thoughts on if Amazon, if that's a
Yeah.
deal that gets done.
I think the potential is there. If Microsoft's serious about being this bridge within this entire industry, if they're serious about changing the perception about how people play games, where people play games, and having access to their content, then I think that there's a potential deal there.
Yeah.
Because I think Amazon would be would be open to discussing different unique agreements and contracts as far as fees exchange to go and how that would all work out at the end of the day. I'm not saying that Amazon and Microsoft all of a sudden become best of friends, but what I'm saying is that in this time when this industry is still extremely dynamic, when there's a lot of unknowns out there, and cloud gaming, again, being the biggest unknown probably in this industry right now, I think Amazon as a partner in that way, a casual partner, not a close partner, but a casual partner with a mutually beneficial type of agreement, I think this is the time you could see it happen with Microsoft and Amazon. And I think that there would be a lot there that they could learn from each other and learn about cloud gaming and see where this is going to go. And so I think that something like that could potentially happen. Am I 100% thinking that that would? No, I think Amazon could be the lone kind of company
Yeah.
that Microsoft doesn't get a deal done with for a lot of varying reasons. But it doesn't matter at the end of the day. No, because like you said, Mav, Amazon isn't disputing this, this
Yeah.
deal at all. They're not fighting against this deal because you're spot on when they have ideas about doing big deals down the road. Plus, they just went through this with the MGM buy, right?
Yeah.
They just went through this and told the FTC to go take a flying leap and closed it, and FTC backed down, right? So they already know how this works. But yeah, they're definitely looking in the future when they decide to jump in, or if I should say at this point, decide to jump into the gaming industry in full once they kind of learn about it. And I think that's what they're doing right now. They're doing it the smart way. They're learning all the different aspects to the gaming industry before they go full bore into it. That's why you see all these publishing deals that you brought up. I think that they are looking ahead in the future and being like, yeah, no, we don't want to have this type of regulation when we go to make our big deal, right? When we go buy a PlayStation, right? That's going to be a big battle. We don't want to set the tone right now by fighting against this one with Microsoft and ABK. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do that. That's why you saw Tencent say, no, get this deal done, go through. So I think that that's the long-term view that Amazon's taking right now. But like I said, it wouldn't shock me to see a deal between Amazon and Microsoft in some way, especially 10 years. Depends how far out Amazon is when they're looking down the road. These companies look, 20, 30 years down the road as well. It wouldn't shock me that 10 years scope of a deal would allow Amazon some time to figure out some more things within the gaming industry, and that they would benefit. Microsoft would benefit, obviously, from having that partnership with Amazon. I think it could happen.
Yeah, and if Microsoft,
it would be a huge.
If Microsoft really is all in on this like our games everywhere type thing within the cloud, then that would make a lot of sense, because there's probably, I don't know the numbers, but I would assume they're probably number 2, right, with cloud gaming. Cheo Walker hit us with a $5 super chat. Appreciate you, Cheo. He said people are overlooking that even if the ABK deal fails, all those cloud streaming companies still get Xbox first party games like Starfield. Are these deals contingent on the deal going?
From Phil's words, it sounds like they are contingent, but does that mean, because it's a one package contract, so obviously there's probably contingencies in there, like, hey, if this goes through, then this happens. But I don't think that Microsoft wouldn't be. I think that this is like these are beneficial kind of partnerships that Microsoft, even if the deal falls through, that they might go ahead and still say, nope, we're going to do a contract now. We're going to give you our Xbox PC games as well. Because again, this isn't going to be the last purchase. Whether this goes through or doesn't go through, Microsoft isn't done, folks. So they're going to make themselves, the next time around, if this doesn't go through, they're going to make themselves look better to the regulatory bodies, again, by being the nice guys that they're trying to position themselves as. And again, I do think it's legitimate. I think that they're looking at the bigger picture overall down the road than everybody else is kind of catching on to, because everybody's so hyper focused on the here and now with Call of Duty, that I think that they could turn around and still cut deals with all these smaller companies for the Xbox PC games, first party games. So, I don't see it.
I found that news from Google as well. I don't really know what this means, so maybe you can fill me in on what you think.
Because this will be the first time hearing it.
So this is from VentureBeat.com. After Stadia, Google unveils Google Cloud for live game strategy. It says Google Cloud is unveiling its new games. This was actually from March 8th. Okay. Google Cloud is unveiling its new game strategy dubbed Google Cloud for live games. It means it will use its global infrastructure to enable game companies to become more agile.
Okay.
And it recognizes that despite the failure of Google's own Stadia cloud gaming service, the cloud is critical to the operation of all modern game companies, including the live service games. Okay. From Fortnite to Warzone to Genshin Impact that are taking over much of the industry. It makes sense that Google Cloud's live service technology, which has powered the likes of YouTube and Google Search, can enable game companies to pull off flawless launches and scale up to millions of users without skipping a beat, said Jack Buser, Director of Game Industry Solutions at Google Cloud, in an interview with GameSpeed. If you recognize the name, Buser was the head of PlayStation Home Virtual World back in the day, and he joined the Google Stadia effort early on in 2016, but he switched over to Google Cloud a couple years ago to help Google take the tech for its Stadia service and bring it to all game companies. The Google Cloud leadership decided that they want to have a global games organization and they tapped me to come on over and lead it, Abuser said. It's been a wild ride. That was about the time when games started shifting from single-player games launches over once every 5 years or so to online gaming experiences that players could return to every day and always find new content. And as computing demands grow, big gaming companies went to Google for help. The rise of mobile games multiplied the value of live service games. Mobile's gaming star Supercell generated $1.9 billion in revenue last year on revenue from 5 live service games, the newest of which was 4 years old. The top games are all live service games, all of them, user said. So whether it be a massively multiplayer online game, or whether it be a live service mobile game, or whether it be a battle royale, the common thread is that these games are being updated over the long term based on player behavior and wants and desires. You have to understand your players. You got to be able to not just attract them into the game, but retain them for long periods of time. It's very different from the old cartridge and optical disc days. Then he goes on to Stadia's demise and stuff like that.
Yeah. So what I take from that is they're positioning themselves as a service provider now.
So I'm skipping ahead a little bit. It says, so the strategy is to take the best of Google Cloud, including Google Kubernetes engine, Spanner, BigQuery, analytics, and then give all of that to game developers so they don't have to worry about those things. So it seems like they're going more in a ways of offering their services as a support infrastructure for live service games with their cloud.
Right. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
And,
so they're
their
going
expertise in the mobile sector.
Right. And this goes into them competing with Azure, competing with Amazon. What's
AWS.
AWS. Yeah. Amazon Web Services. Right.
Yep.
So Google's not out of the gaming industry, right?
No.
I mean, they're also one of the top revenue earners in gaming, period, right? But they are not directly in competition when it comes to cloud gaming services like Microsoft and Amazon would be, right? So it's interesting that they were even, mentioned at all with this. But
Google's about to be in a battle for a lot of their market share, search engine wise, cloud wise. They're in mobile market. They are in a battle. They're going to be about to be in a battle. Microsoft is coming hard. Pause.
Yeah.
Microsoft is coming. They are coming real hard.
They are. They're really trying.
For Google. This AI, Mav, now that it's being incorporated into the Google search function, and also now is going to be incorporated. We got word today into the Office side of things as well. This is a moment in time that we may look back on. Again, we talked about this with the ABK deal, and this is off gaming a little bit, but this kind of wraps into what Microsoft is looking at here, why this is such a big deal to them. We could look back at this time as a key moment when there was a shift in the power structure when it comes to Google and Apple because of what Microsoft is doing overall in their company, gaming sector wise, cloud sector wise, and now AI wise. This is a huge moment for them. Yeah. And again, when we look back from 10 years from now and we look back at what happened and why Microsoft now positioned themselves not only in all the other places that they've been so big with Windows and all that kind of in Office and all that stuff and there's their servers. But when we look back and all of a sudden people are using Bing the way
I'm
that they
starting
use
to use
Google
it more
nowadays,
than I have,
Bro, I've been using it for a long time just because of Microsoft Rewards, right? I've been using it. So I've seen the evolution. It's still general search results are fine. When you try to key in on something, Google still outperforms Bing at the end of the day for very specific searches. But now with AI, that's leveling the playing field. And again, this Office stuff that they're about to introduce with AI.
AI creating documents for you.
Yes, it creates a PowerPoint presentation. You give it a specific document and it will give you a whole PowerPoint presentation within a matter of minutes. You got to be kidding. Like this is crazy stuff. The introduction of AI and how fast this is happening is something that I didn't even expect. Like Microsoft is at the forefront pushing this too. So anyways, why I brought that up too as well, and I want to kind of transition. I was going to go a different route, but we'll go here real quick. is the mobile side of things, because you just brought it up with Google and what they're offering with these services. And of course, one big part of it is Google. And you talked about how much money they're making over there. Derek Strickland, great follow on Twitter, breaks down a lot of business side of things. Gets into the ABK stuff, all that kind of stuff. Derek Strickland is a good dude and analyzes things very well. He brought this up this week, Mav, as well, in a couple tweets. It said Microsoft gives Tencent, Google, and Apple mobile gaming revenues for 2022. This came out of the documents, okay? Because, again, obviously Microsoft's contention is that King is the main component of this deal because they want to move in to the mobile space. We already know that they're creating a mobile app. They want to break up the duopoly, which regulators hate. Again, regulators are focused on Apple and Google right now because of that duopoly that those two companies control when it comes to the mobile sector. Yeah. So Microsoft's got all that in this document. So this came out. Microsoft gives Tencent, Google, and Apple mobile gaming revenues for 2022. Listen, this is mobile gaming revenues for last year. Tencent, $32.5 billion. Apple, $14.8 billion. Google, $12.4 billion. Derek Strickland goes on to say Apple's mobile games revenue alone is almost as much as Xbox's total earnings. No wonder Microsoft wants in on the mobile game.
Yep.
This is the next big battle, whether you believe in mobile or not. And most of us here are casual at best mobile gamers. Coming around a little bit because of Xbox cloud gaming and all that kind of stuff. I got my Kishi, but it's still not the experience that a lot of us are looking for. But we're a very small minority, okay? This is why Candy Crush still brings in $1.9 billion. Candy Crush.
Yeah.
This is why Microsoft is now getting into this space. This is why, as Derek said, they want in. But this is why the next big battle is with Apple and Google. When you hear those numbers, Mav, though, Tencent makes more than Apple and Google combined. If you ever wonder why I'm always like, I don't want Tencent around in this gaming industry. Again, the Chinese government's directly linked to Tencent, but they're already here. Yep. They make more money than the two big players do combined, Mav, at $32.5 billion. When you hear these numbers, Mav, it's always shocking to me. Is it shocking to you when you hear these numbers and what's out there?
I feel like Tencent is owns half of mobile gaming, pretty much. Right. This is what it sounds like.
Yes.
Yes. It doesn't surprise me at all. I remember when Apple was actually, I think it wasn't long ago, Apple was maybe number one in revenue, right? Yes. Tencent, I think, has now surpassed them, which is crazy.
Almost 3 times.
Yeah. And I mean, more than times. Google and Apple combined, right?
Yes.
It's scary to see what power they have over gaming, right? With that kind of money that they're making. And they keep infusing it and investing in all these different companies left and right. But just to the bigger question, I mean, Xbox released these charts before when they're trying to educate the regulators on the gaming industry. And, they had console gaming, right? Mm-hmm. So pretty much stayed relatively the same, slight growth, it's still growing, but it's not like it was, right? Not growing like it was in the early days, Correct. It's pretty much it's not capped out completely, but it doesn't have the growth that these big tech companies are looking for, right? And also, I think part of that growth is also going to continue to be stymied in the future because of other ways to play your games, right? So I think that growth with console gaming is also going, even though it's still growing slightly now, it's still going to secede a little bit more, even, right? So they're looking at, well, what's the future, right? The future of gaming and everything is accessibility into multiple places, being able to play wherever. PC also has had a steady growth, but it's also about the same around consoles, maybe slightly more growth or slightly less, but around that same mark. But you look at the trajectory that mobile gaming has had, it started out like this, and it's like, whoa, it's just like swallowing up everything whole, and it's become now bigger than the rest of the games industry pretty much as just in itself, right? So mobile gaming is a huge thing, and Microsoft nor Sony or any of these other former big players within console space really have a good foothold in mobile gaming, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Microsoft's dabbled before. They've had like Gears Pop,
Mm-hmm.
they've had
Yeah.
Halo Spartan Assaults and stuff like that.
Got the
You know,
Doom game now that
you
just
know.
came out.
Bethesda's done well with it at times, like
Yes.
Fallout Shelter and stuff
Yes,
like
that was
that.
huge. Still big.
Yeah, they do have that Doom game.
Yep.
But overall, it takes more than just a couple of little random games to really hit it. The space is so massive, and I think Phil's said before that he regretted not doing that deal with Genshin Impact
Yes.
as well.
Yes, he missed out on
for
Genshin.
this same thing. This trajectory is still going to continue. Everybody's got a phone, right? Oh, shoot. Everybody's got a phone, right? If you don't have this or that, whatever, everybody's got a phone. So when it comes to accessibility, always having this, no matter where you are on the go, is a device that plays games well, especially if you get like a controller for it or whatever. And they're adapting ways to make a lot of their games play on these devices, right? So that's Microsoft's vision for the future. They want to try and figure out, okay, not only we want to have these mobile games, right, but we also want to have our experiences of what we can offer that's different than what people are used to in the mobile space, right?
Right.
We want to try and bring the hardcore along into that and get these gamers that are playing on mobile interested in these bigger experiences, bigger and better experiences, and advance what we think of as mobile gaming, right? And to where it's now not just mobile gaming, but it's like hardcore gaming, AAA gaming, but you're still gaming on a phone. You know what I mean? And that's their avenue, and I feel like that's a really cool idea. We'll see ultimately if it's going to pay off for them, right?
Right.
With that strategy. But they need King to really advance their plans to make what they want to do work, because immediately they will have some big time heavy hitters within the mobile space. And they will also have all the infrastructure and know how all that stuff works when they get those companies in their ecosystem. Right. So I think it's a big deal. Mobile gaming is what this has been all about for the most part, all along. Whereas regulators made it about Call of Duty because PlayStation's crying. I think it's going to get done, and we're going to see Microsoft keep making this push over the next several years. I mean, and that's not just because of them trying to push us in a direction, because that's where the technology's developed into. Right? Technology has gotten to this point, right? And Microsoft knows more than anybody what the tech is capable of and where it is headed. So they're just trying to get ahead of the game here, right? So it could even be too little too late for them with mobile space. Like Tencent's got a huge foothold,
They do.
Like, but I don't know, man. What do you
It's
think?
a huge pie, though.
Yeah, it is big time.
Yeah, and it could use one more. It's got plenty of room for one more at least. So it's funny how clear, at least to me, some of the plans appear to be and where Microsoft is going. We've been talking about this stuff for so long, even prior to the ABK deal when they bought ZeniMax and what Microsoft was trying to do. It's just so, sometimes it appears, and again, nobody knows because we're not privy to this high level information and what their crystal balls say down the road. But to me, it just sometimes it's just clear as day that Microsoft truly does believe in what they see in the crystal ball for 25, 30 years down the road and where they think all of this is going to be. Not
why they're spending $70 billion.
Exactly. It's not on a whim. It's not just for Call of Duty. It's so much bigger than what everybody tends to focus on, because so many people are just hyper focused on what's right in front of our faces. Meanwhile, Microsoft is thinking big down the road, where they're going to be as an entire corporation and what that future is going to look like. It's insane to me to watch this all happen, and we're at like one of the main points that could alter what happens down in that road, and where we see gaming go, where we see all of this go, where we see cloud infrastructure go. Well, again, cloud development is the next big thing too that Microsoft is working on, and with AI, Again, it's going to blow up. They've already got AI in the hands of a bunch of their first-party developers. They talked about it, and people are starting to test and fool around with it and see what it can do for them in the gaming space. All of this, evolution of technology is strange. You don't see it in the moment, but again, all you got to do is go back and look at where we were with cell phone tech 15, 20 years ago, and what we were carrying around in our pockets compared to what we have right now. And it's stupid. It's just dumb how big a difference there is. So I'm excited. I can't wait. Let's keep going here with the CMA stuff. CMA dropped a bunch of documents, like I said. One of the big things to come out of this week was CMA published responses from 6 different games companies to the Microsoft Blizzard deal in the UK. All 6 of the ones that they released believe that the deal should go ahead. And one company even says it's likely to create a sorely needed level playing ground between Xbox and PlayStation. Now, I'm not going to read all of these. I'm going to focus on one here, Mav. I'm gonna do this one right here. I felt compelled to get in touch regarding the CMA's notice of possible remedies in the Activision Blizzard acquisition case. Our business primarily focuses on releasing video games for various gaming platforms, including both Xbox and PlayStation. In recent years, we found that our video game sales across Xbox and PlayStation have been moving in different directions, mainly due to the structure of how each platform is laid out. On PlayStation, we found our sales growing stagnant with each release. This is mainly due to the fact that despite PlayStation having the lion's share of player numbers and console sales, that share is mainly provided to larger titles from huge publishing labels and or developers and publishers who are willing to spend lots of money on paid marketing within the PlayStation console. This means that on PlayStation, it simply isn't a level playing field for every publisher and developer. It has meant that as the years have gone by, if you put smaller titles on PlayStation devices now, your title will rarely appear organically to PlayStation players. Instead, you are 100% reliant on players knowing about your game already and searching for it on the store. On Xbox, the opposite has come true over the last several years. There are numerous means of players finding your game on Xbox, including special sections on the store and through the Xbox Game Pass service. As a result, we found that despite Xbox having a much smaller player numbers in console sales than PlayStation, our games sell just as well on Xbox since more players are finding our games there. We usually find that the revenue we now make from new games is more on Xbox than PlayStation due to this fact. Again, despite Xbox being the smaller platform in many ways. We found that whenever there is a large public buzz around Xbox, there are more Xbox hardware sales, and as a result, we see even better ongoing results on the Xbox. With this in mind, I found myself of the opinion that the acquisition of Activision Blizzard can only be a good thing for smaller to mid-sized businesses like ours, as it will no doubt lead to increased sales of Xbox hardware, increased subscriber numbers on Xbox Game Pass subscription service, and thus larger sales for businesses like ours. Coupled with the fact that Xbox has a better ecosystem currently for players to discover new games, I can only see the acquisition being a positive for a lot of businesses such as ours. The acquisition will not all of a sudden make Xbox the dominant platform. It's far more likely that it may help to create a more level playing field between Xbox and PlayStation, which at this point in time is sorely needed. PlayStation needs better competition to force the platform to up its game, and this will surely help do that.
Strong words.
Did we write this? Did we write
no,
this?
Man, we might have. It's that I slipped that guy an email and said, "Hey, just make it come from you." Man, it's some strong words there. And what games do they make?
They didn't say it. This was anonymous.
Okay, this was the anonymous one.
Yeah, and there was a couple anonymous ones in here. So.
It's so interesting. Why would a game companies have to be anonymous? Because they don't want to ruin their relationship with PlayStation.
Correct. The only one that came out was the 4J Studios. That was the only one that came out and said who they were. Yeah.
So they're all saying like, "Come on, we need help here. Help the competition in the business."
Right.
But we don't want to say who we are. Because that's interesting. I find that there's a lot of truth there, right? Yes. Xbox players, I guess, do play games. Everybody.
Yes.
And find games and take it from them, right? The actual game developer / publisher, whatever. that finds that the ecosystem is more adept for their game, right?
Yes.
Yes. Um, saying that PlayStation needs to step up their game when it comes to these things is strong words, in my opinion.
Yep.
I wonder what kind of like when this is the second time the CMA has made public actual. First time was from the people, just random people. They made public the responses, right? And there was 75% in favor, right? At that time. Now we have 6 game companies that are not directly tied to this or affected one way or another within this acquisition. Like PlayStation's been the main challenger, right? Then we have Activision and we have Microsoft. So there was 9 total companies that responded, I guess. So Activision, Microsoft, PlayStation, we know their stances. Those are givens, right? But the 6 others were unanimous in either the fact that it doesn't matter to them or that they think it's favorable that this deal should go through. Correct. So what kind of impact with this consistent feedback from everybody else in the industry, even the public for the majority, is all in favor of this happening except for Sony? How does that impact them when they're looking at these things, and do they start seeing this for what it is, that Sony's only trying to protect their market share position with being the dominant player, right? At some point you would think with all this common sense stuff here, if you go and I walk into a room, right, and I have a great deal for you. Right. Let's say I walk into a room and there's 10 people here. Right. Hey, I got a great deal for you. I'm going to offer you this game for this amount of money. Right. And the only person that everybody's like, yes, yeah, let's do this. This is great. But the only person that disagrees is the one that has the lock and the foothold on that entire sector already. Right. At one point, does it become common sense to everybody, including anybody that's overseeing this, that the one person is only out for themselves?
Correct.
Right? And which they should be. Sony should be out for themselves, but regulators should not be out for them.
No.
Right? Regulators should be out for everybody, the competition of the space, right? If this is what this is all about, right? Mm-hmm. Competition in markets, right? Competition in the space comes down to 2 things. Comes down to us as consumers, right? Mm-hmm. And the people that are creating the games and the businesses that are publishing these games and releasing them and having abilities to get their games to players, right? And different platform holders, right? So if all of these players in this space are saying it's better for them competition wise, it's going to boost them up and help them, and the only person that's saying no is the one that already has that foothold, that's not breeding competition. That's trying to keep status quo. Correct. Right? And keeping status quo is not the job of the CMA. It's not the job of the EC. It's not the job of the FTC. It's none of their job. Their job is to actually, regardless of if there's any acquisitions happening, their job is to actually try and make sure that the consumers are protected and have the most competition in the space for whatever sectors they're overlooking at the time, right? That's why cases get brought up. The CMA had a case against Google randomly like a couple years ago because of things like this. Like, these things get brought up even after the fact, right? Hey, we're going to look at this industry because there's a monopoly going on here, or there's a duopoly going on here, or there's this or that, and we got to try and bring more competition to the space, or we're gonna make these rules, and you're gonna have to abide by them, and then we're gonna try and increase business, right, and competition. So even without acquisitions, that's their job, right? To implement and oversee the markets to make sure there's good, adequate competition in all these spaces. Here's an acquisition that's actually offering an opportunity to them, to the CMA, to the EC, to the FTC on a silver platter. This is handed to them by Microsoft on a silver platter. Microsoft footed the bill to fix the problem. The $70 billion bill that's going to help fix the problem in the gaming space, right? With the market share position being dominated by Sony, the money hatting, all these kind of things. Class action lawsuit in the UK for similar things going on as here as well against Sony. Microsoft's handing the solution. Like we spent $70 billion, and this is not only a solution for the gaming space, but this is also going to help with your issues with Apple, with Google, and the app stores, and all these things. We footed the bill for this $70 billion to try and make competition better in these spaces. Yet, because of politics, because of game, because of whatever this or that, these regulators have Jim Ryan in their ear, saying, "No, we need to maintain status quo. We need to be number one, or else we can't survive. This or that, this and that. You're going to hurt everybody. You're going to take Call of Duty away from the players. You're going to take COD away from the players." And they're listening to that instead of seeing this grander scale picture about the opportunity that is actually at hand for them. And all they have to do to understand that is listen to the people and listen to the companies that are involved, besides the only challenger in this.
Do they want to wind up being, at the end of the day, the parent that walks in a room and says, "Nope, I don't care what you say, I know better than you," when they know nothing about this industry?
Right.
Until now, right? Are they really going to go that route? No. Don't care what any of you got to say. We know there's a whole bunch of you saying the same thing, big to small, but we know better than you. You really going to do that? I don't think so. And like to your point, Mav, as far as Microsoft handing everything on a platter, we talked about this really early on too, Mav. Microsoft's giving them the blueprint going forward for regulation.
Yeah.
When it comes to the industry, they're giving them the blueprint of what remedies to ask from people, so that when the next big purchase does come, whether it's Tencent, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Sony themselves, some way find themselves in a position to purchase a company that has a big IP. Microsoft has now set the table for what the remedies will look like. And other companies will have to come to play underneath those same rules, because they will now have a basis for that. And again, it's a basis that will not harm the dynamic nature of this industry, which is exactly what regulators all claim that they don't want to do. Although we know that doesn't always be that's not always the case, because again, politics get involved and there's much more to this than just meets the eye. But at the end of the day, they're not supposed to mess with dynamic industries. They're supposed to mess with stagnant industries that are dominated by one or two main companies, such as the mobile market. They're supposed to mess with those, because that creates a situation where those one or two companies can take advantage of everybody else, because they have complete power. The video game industry, we don't have a consolidation of power.
No.
Sure, you can say there's three main players in Nintendo, Sony,
that's just
and Microsoft.
Hardware for console space.
That's just one.
And that's just one
part.
small aspect of gaming.
Right.
It's
right.
like so asinine.
Right. It's ridiculous. And it's a sector of the industry that has completely flatlined, capped out. Like there's no more room in that portion.
In which Microsoft is in last place as
correct.
well.
Correct. Exactly.
Right. By far.
Exactly. And again, regulatory bodies are not supposed to, as Mavs pointed out, as everybody's been pointing out, it's not supposed to be their job to protect the status quo. It's not supposed to be their job to protect a company like Sony. It's not Microsoft's fault. It's not Nintendo's fault. It's not anybody's fault that Sony made the business decision to rely on a third-party title to be a main moneymaker for them. That's Sony's problem. That was Sony's decision, and there's consequences when you build your business model that way. Sony knew this from day one. If they didn't, then they're they have bigger problems because that means they're not very smart. If you build just think about it this way. Even if Sony in the back of their heads never thought that Activision Blizzard would be acquired by somebody like Microsoft, right? The fact that they built their entire business model, according to them, again, I'm not making this up. I'm just going to use their terms, whether you believe it or not.
They're BS
matter.
Terms, right?
They're BS. But if you're going to come out and say that this is going to be the collapse of your system because you don't have access to Call of Duty anymore, then that means even if you didn't think an acquisition would happen, you've been in this games industry long enough. You've seen major franchises come and go one after another and be replaced. So you're telling me that you put all your chips in this third-party title, Call of Duty, knowing full well that in a matter of a couple years, it could be nothing?
Gamers
it could
are
be
fickle.
Irrelevant.
They could just lose interest.
Right.
Year.
It could be irrelevant. Come on, man. Again, it's not the regulatory body's job to fix bad decisions from a company like Sony. You adapt or you die in business. Nobody was around trying to save Sega when it made a lot of bad decisions and Sony helped push it over the cliff. Nobody. That's what happens. And that's what happens in healthy industries too. Things come and go. They don't stay stagnant. And that's the difference with this. Again, if Sony did collapse tomorrow, if PlayStation ceased to exist, which would never happen, okay? But let's say it just ceased to exist. Somebody else would come along to try to fill that role. That's happened many, many times in this industry and will continue to happen.
It'd be Apple.
Yes, it would probably be Apple. They would jump right into the hardware space. Within a matter of a couple years, they would be there, or they'd be ready for the next generation. And they would jump in full force. That's how this whole thing works. It always has been that way. So it's not the regulatory body's job to protect Sony from themselves. Again, they made this decision. And again, I personally don't believe the BS that they're putting out, that Call of Duty is the main reason why they can make AAA first-party games the way they can. Is it a piece of it? Sure, of course it's a piece of it. It's a big piece of their revenue. But ultimately, would that be the collapse of them? No, it wouldn't be. And if it was, then they put that own trap. They built their own ticking time bomb on themselves. That's their problem. Not Microsoft's, not Nintendo's, not the regulatory bodies, not 2K's. That's Sony's problem. So I think at the end of the day, this shows, again, that Sony is the only real person standing up company-wise here to oppose this, because everybody else knows this industry and knows what it means for a game like Call of Duty to be owned by Microsoft, when especially Microsoft is saying nothing and not only just saying, but going out and proving that they have no intentions of any type of foreclosure whatsoever.
Yeah.
And most of these companies also know that Sony is a lot of BS and a hot air right now. And they know that this would not be the end of Sony in any way, shape, or form, even if Microsoft became the bad guy, turned around and turned into Mr. Hyde and absolutely foreclosed Call of Duty and said, nope, Call of Duty is now exclusive. So, all right, Mav. Good topic, brother. Good talk. It was a really good one.
We do have breaking news.
Okay. What's going on?
You know that little lawsuit from gamers against Microsoft because of the acquisition?
Yeah.
Well, this is from Post Up on Twitter. He's been doing a good job at sharing things. And he credits IDOS again from, I think it's Reddit user. I don't remember exactly, but MLEX reports that the lawsuit from gamers has been dismissed and they'll need to redraft their complaint. Judge Jacqueline Scott Corley raised concerns about a lack of evidence / numbers, precise argument about the harm arising from the deal, and the definition of the relevant markets. So, sorry.
Shocked
for the people out there that were just trying to get money out of this with some bogus lawsuits.
Shocking.
But this judge says that you need to rewrite your complaint if you're going to sue because this is ridiculous. Like, there's nothing
Shocking.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Again, and they can't rewrite it any other way because, again, this is exactly what happened if the FTC went to federal court. This is exactly what judges would say. What is your argument here?
Yeah. What?
What?
Huh?
What?
What?
Nowhere in our laws does it say that Microsoft can't do this. This does not make them a monopoly. It doesn't even come close. This is exactly why the FTC's argument is worthless.
Hey,
Anyway,
I got a note to those gamers that tried to sue Microsoft.
yeah, go ahead.
Go sub to Game Pass.
Yeah.
Try it out.
Best-
Get some lots of games right now for a very low price. You can play on multiple devices. It's a
Best
great
deal in gaming.
universal ecosystem. Gives you access to lots of games and only $14.99 a month for the whole shebang, and you can even play on PC.
I don't know. We talked a lot of CMA. We talked a lot. There's more. Tom Oren did an article on Verge today concerning how Microsoft is disputing the financial modeling that the CMA is using to determine the damage that would be done to Sony at the end of the day, and just flat out says they're doing their math wrong. There's clear errors. Do you even want to talk about this, or should we just move on?
I just think it's the. I mean, honestly, I think it's just
Yeah.
them trying to twist the numbers how they want to.
Correct.
And Microsoft's just calling them out for it. And I think it's just a way of them trying to make their case seem stronger than it is.
Yeah.
Right. Microsoft's just not having it.
No.
So-
And the CMA again is people who don't know this industry.
Yeah.
And again, they're trying
And
to
they're probably parroting what Sony told them.
correct. They're probably using a lot of BS numbers out there. All right. All right. Then we don't have to cover that. I just thought that came out today. So whatever. Man, that was a major topic. Hey everybody, small note. Another game coming out this year, which Mav and I are extremely excited for. Aliens Dark Descent.
Yeah.
Got Aliens Dark Descent, just small news. Pre-orders went up on Amazon. $40 game.
$40. Yeah. Isometric.
this. Yes.
Top down alien versus
Right.
predator shooter thing. Looks
Strategy
freaking
game.
awesome.
Yes. It's gonna be freaking amazing. Control your Marines. It's gonna be freaking cool as hell. But $40, I was shocked. I was like, all right. And they have it right now. No word if this is official, but Amazon does use placeholders. But June 30th is the date right now, so we'll see. But Aliens Dark Descent, another game that I'm gonna be day one. I can't help myself.
It's not all the big games. Sometimes it's
No.
these little ones. You know, we
Little
go
games,
through
man.
so many of these at times where we play for like a few weeks at a time, and it's like, okay, we move on to the next one, and I'm completely happy with that. You know what I mean? Like these games sometimes we go back to, and that's a good call out there because that game
Yeah.
looks pretty awesome.
freaking amazing. bro.
Somebody
Can't
was
wait.
God, I don't remember. Maybe it's on a podcast. Was it on? Anyways, I was on a podcast or listening to a podcast or something, and
Yeah.
somebody was talking about Aliens versus Predator RTS on the original Xbox.
There was an RTS on PC, I know.
And I had never heard of this before, so it boggled my mind. It's somebody,
there
was it maybe a tactics? Was it a tactics game or RTS game? Something. Somebody was talking about it. It was the Aliens versus Predator, like RTS game on the original Xbox.
Yeah, it was called Aliens versus Predator Extinction. And it was also on PlayStation 2.
Yeah, it was Boom that was saying it. Yeah, shout out to Dova. Yeah.
I've seen this. I don't remember ever playing it. It was in 2003. But yes, it was an RTS.
Alien Extinction?
Yeah, Aliens versus Predator Extinction.
Aliens versus Predator Extinction. So that's what
Extinction.
Boom was talking about.
Yep.
I couldn't remember if it was listening to Pod or when I had that conversation earlier today, but yeah, man.
Yeah, but there was no, unlike many, okay, I'll just give you a quick synopsis. Unlike many real-time strategy games, there are no base building mechanics and resource gathering is extremely limited. Instead, the focus is on unit management and combat.
Okay.
The game is set on LV-742, a distant planet used by the Predators as hunting ground of the local alien hive. Human colonists discover the alien hive and must deal with the growing war with the Predators.
Yeah, I'm recalling, I think Boom said it was his favorite RTS of all time.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, like I said, I've seen it.
I've never heard
seen
of
it. I've
it.
heard about it, but I don't remember ever playing it, grabbing it,
Yeah.
and playing it on PlayStation 2. Obviously, I didn't own the original Xbox, but I don't remember ever anybody having it.
I don't
Yeah.
know. It's one of those I could have played, but I don't remember playing it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't think I have.
No, it's legit. It's out
It's crazy.
there. Yeah, I know, right?
And people thought RTS games on console were just never going to be a thing or just a new
Impossible.
thing. Yeah.
Again, StarCraft was on N64 for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Command and Conquer was on
Yeah.
Super Nintendo, I think.
Yes.
even
Yes.
back in the day.
Yes. Back in the day. Yes. SimCity was on console back in the day as well. So it was all possible. Just nobody wanted to put the work in or thought there was big enough crowd for it, fan for it. So now we're finding out there is. So I'm happy. Another small announcement. A lot of people were waiting on this game too. Sea of Stars, which is a classic, another classic JRPG game that had gotten announced, but console version, especially Xbox version, had not been announced. Sea of Stars is looking really well done if you're into the classic JRPGs. They confirmed today coming to Xbox Series and Xbox One on August the 29th. So we're starting to get some fall dates finally, Mav, as well. We didn't know what's happening in the second half, but we're finally starting to see some games fall in there now. So that was pretty cool. Sea of Stars coming out.
Yeah.
Looks fantastic. What else you want to talk about, Matt? You got anything on the docket here that you want to get into?
Man,
I don't have a whole lot.
it's been a slow news week. I mean, we
Yes.
could talk about that Redfall story trailer a little bit. Did you have a chance to
we
check
could
that
talk
out?
about- yeah, I did watch that. We could talk about that. We also got Atlas Fallen, new stuff as well this week. Atlas Fallen is everybody's waiting on. That's coming out in May. They showed off a gameplay trailer as well, looking really cool, looking great. Yeah, we could talk about the Redfall. So yeah, this week Redfall, just yesterday I think it was, released a gameplay trailer, and kind of broke down the boss enemies, right? The different styles of boss enemies, and I don't know, man, from what you saw, from what I saw, there's a lot of different bosses. I was kind of shocked by that. Different style of bosses, I should say. Different combat mechanics, different kind of unique abilities, obviously, as most bosses do. But I saw a bunch of them in there. This game, I can't wait to hear the people that got to play it early. I can't wait to hear the Colts and the Iron Lords and everybody who got Maddie plays, who got to play this game early. I can't wait to hear their impressions because, man, it's always been on high on my list. It's Arcane. It's Arcane Austin specifically. I'm super excited for May 2nd, man. I can't wait, man. I really want to jump in this game.
It looks
Did
good.
you see how the trailer?
It looks great. I just want to play it. Yeah, I think this trailer I saw really solidified a lot of the gameplay today. And tomorrow we should be getting a lot of updates on Redfall because I think the 17th
tomorrow when they can talk.
I think it's tomorrow is the day because I remember when I was listening to Xbox 2 last week, which is on their Friday show with Rand and Jez. I think he mentioned that by next week's show he should be able to talk about it.
Okay.
So
I hope it's tomorrow because I want to hear these people talk about it.
Right, and he didn't say Redfall because he couldn't say specifically.
Right.
But that just lined up with everything else, that was going on out there. So I have a feeling tomorrow is the day where we're going to be getting lots of news for these games for Redfall from everybody that got their hands on or saw it in person at the in-person event. So they're going all in on this thing, man. It's still over a month away though. So I wonder what they're going to do more for marketing up until then, right? Mm-hmm. Is there a beta? Did they announce a beta? I don't remember them announcing a beta.
There was rumors that there was going to be early access, but that never has yet, as of right now, hasn't come to fruition either. Remember, they were going to have like a Forza Horizon 5 pack for Redfall where you could play it early if you bought the season pass or whatever. Give you a break on it because it's in Game Pass. So
the chat saying that it may be the 22nd. Colt said maybe. It was
that's what I thought. It was like the 23rd or something.
Well, so what? Maybe Jez was talking about a different game, or maybe he was just mistaken, or it could have been a different game.
Yeah, because he said he was playing a game that's coming out soon, and that he was going to be able to talk about it. So I
wonder what that is.
Well, what's coming up? It's got to be what's coming out. Everything.
I mean, everything is coming out.
Everything's coming out. God dang it, I can't remember what's coming out at the end of this month now. I'm trying to think about it, but yeah, I'm assuming it's one of those games that maybe it's no, it wouldn't be that. I don't know, but we'll find out. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. I thought I heard the 20 something for Redfall
Right.
impressions as well. So
yeah, when I'd assumed that was Redfall that Jez was talking about, but I guess it's wrong. I guess I'm wrong, and it's probably something else then, because it seems like everybody's been here in the 22nd. So, man, what could it be? What could? Well, we'll have to. Hey, everybody, tune in to Xbox 2 tomorrow with Random Jez, and we'll see if he's able to talk about whatever game it was that he said he's been playing. But whatever it is, I think he's liking it. From the vibes I got, listening to him.
Yeah, he's been like, probably Resident Evil.
Think it is? Could be.
Probably Resident Evil.
Okay.
Because we got the demo, so I'm assuming that it's going to be something like that he can talk about at that point. Because Resident Evil 4 is the 24th, right? So potentially that. I'm looking and see what else it could be. It's Bayonetta. The Origins one. Yeah, it's got to. I'm pretty sure it's got to be that. I mean, it could be Crime Boss.
Yeah,
I don't think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's got to be that one.
Did you see this rumor that Jasper just shared?
No, I didn't look in there. What's this one?
So I don't know. I mean, this could be complete bullshit.
Yeah.
This could be complete bullshit.
Let's go. Speculation town. Let's go.
But Jasper,
salt, everybody, salt.
Jasper shared something, and this guy, his name is Sony Prophet. So that's just taking it with
that guy.
Is that a known person that's like shares bullshit?
Yeah, let's go though. Okay. I want to hear what he has to say.
This is like, I was gonna say I would like fill a house up with salt on this thing. Because I just asked Jasper this legit because I've never heard of this person before. He said, according to FTC documents filed by Microsoft's lawyers, an exclusive Superman PS5 title is currently in development. An exclusive Superman PS5 title. And then he said, here's the document. And he took a little screenshot snippet of something without a link.
Yeah.
And it says, this figure shows that the impact of PlayStation exclusive releases on Xbox console sales is... I don't know why it's got scissors there, but it says that this applies for big titles like God of War or Superman. I think he edited this to be like Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what Jasper just put in there. People are assuming it's a typo, meaning to say Spider-Man.
Either that or this guy just edited it.
It's got to be Spider-Man.
Probably.
There ain't no way they're working on a Superman.
Yeah, I think this is bullshit.
I think so too.
Yeah, bullshit.
Yeah, especially coming from that dude.
Yeah. I don't know. I call bullshit on that one.
I do. I got a speculation town one though, Mav. Let's end on this unless you find something else you want to talk about. Let's end on this one here. Let's have a little fun in speculation town real quick. Because we did get an article this week, which I just lost, of course, because I scrolled over to see what Jasper was writing in there. Hold on. I'm going to find it here, folks. Here we go. Insider Gaming. Shout out to Tom Henderson, of course.
Oh, yes.
Love him.
Yeah, I know what we're talking about here.
Yeah, let's go here. So earlier
this is a juicy one, though, Pong.
This is a juicy one.
So we may just have some disagreements here.
We might. Tom Warren put out exclusive. PS5 Pro in development, could release late 2024. Insider gaming sources have confirmed that the PS5 Pro is in development and could release with a tentative release date of late 2024. Insider Gaming previously reported that a new PlayStation 5 with detachable disk drive is scheduled to release later this year. It's understood that this new model will phase out the current PlayStation 5 to cut down on production and shipping costs, in spite of the widespread reports that this is not the PS5 Pro model. This is, quote, just the beginning of new hardware coming to PlayStation users this generation, end quote, said one source when talking about the detachable disk drive console. As for what the PS5 specs will entail, details are limited. However, a recently published patent by PlayStation architect Mark Cerny suggests that Sony Interactive Entertainment is looking to accelerate ray tracing performance in video games. Just like with the PS4 to the PS4 Pro, you could generally guess pretty confidently that the PS5 Pro will have increased visuals, performance, and speeds. But as for leaked details, we'll have to wait until a later date to release those. Insider Gaming understands that the next generation of the PlayStation, the PS6, is unlikely to release until at least 2028. That would put the current generation console release schedule in line with its predecessors. In February, industry insider Jeff Grubb said during the Game Mess Decides podcast that Sony was planning to host a new PlayStation showcase before E3, although Insider Game cannot corroborate this report at this time. We do anticipate that it's very likely that a showcase is on the horizon to show off games including Marvel Spider-Man 2 and talk about its new hardware coming towards the end of 2023. As for if the PS5 Pro makes sense, remains to be seen. The current generation console market has seemingly only just stabilized following the chip shortages, and developers still need to release past generation to sell more units. Sony is expecting a massive fiscal year 23 for console units sold, though, of around 30.5 million units. So a massive phasing out of past gen games in spring 2024 is logical. All right. Shout out to Tom Henderson and everybody over at Insider Gaming. Takes a lot of heat, takes a lot of crap from a lot of people in this space. I don't care. Leakers have a place. I like them. I will always support somebody who does it. Again, he doesn't break NDA. He doesn't sign NDAs. This information is always provided to him from third parties. And so he's not, signing agreements directly with the publishers or whoever devs and saying, no, I won't talk about it, and then breaking it. All he's doing is gathering information from other sources and then releases it. And I'm all for it. So shout out to Tom Henderson. One of the best in the biz. And I'm so happy for his success on Insider Gaming. Anyways, personal notes aside, PS5 Pro potentially 2024 after they redo the current model and give us a diskless console, one SKU, and then give us a separate disk drive if you want it, which makes some sense. I want to see how this is going to work. That usually isn't the best way to sell hardware, but we'll see. What do you think about the PS5 Pro 2024, Matt? What do you think?
I may be in a minority on this, right? And I get why. But personally, I am pro mid-gen refresh, right? Now, it's a little interesting just because of where we are with the economy / inflation rates, the cost of these consoles not having even been dropped really at all. For like a Series X PS5, they're still hard to obtain. Those are the factors that make me question it slightly, right? In a normal scenario, by this time, we would be having price decrease on the hardware. You would maybe send it $100 less by this point, right? Especially coming up to this year. And at that point, you could be like, okay, well, they introduced new hardware again. It kind of resets that premium price point, right? And you have better hardware. Now it creates maybe even more work for developers and that kind of stuff. So that's the other fact that some people don't like about it. For me, I'm just coming at it from a me perspective, right? If I got, assuming they were able to hit the same price, right? Which that's not probably likely because of the way it is. In a normal situation, past generation, the generation before that, generation before that, generation before that, that's what would have been able to happen because the prices have always gone down on hardware. Not this generation, prices have actually gone up, right? So that's the interesting aspect. But in a normal world, not the one we've been living in, if I was to take $500 to a store and I'm looking to buy a piece of hardware, I would rather buy a hardware that's more up to date with the standards of today than 3 years ago, right? That's just for my money, right? Because one thing I know, especially on the Xbox's side, is they have updated a lot of their games to meet those standards of the hardware. So when I get an Xbox Series X Plus or whatever it is, right? I have faith that Starfield will have better performance on that machine than a Series X and a Series S. And as for me, I want to play Starfield the best it possibly can be. And that goes for every console game that's published by Microsoft, which I have faith that those games at least will get that attention, as well as, like we saw with the One X, there are some third-party games and other things like that that will get that attention as well, right? So from my perspective, yes, I understand these consoles are not capped out. I understand that there's tools that have not been utilized in all these scenarios, but I still look at it from the perspective of if I have better hardware, that still means better possibilities for the games, right? And if I have the money to be able to put into a console, then I want the best bang for my buck. And for me, that gives me the best bang for my buck as a consumer, right? Now, does it make business sense right now? That's where we have a big, maybe not, right? Because they have not fully tapped out the consoles yet because of all these reasons, because of the way that the dollars are, with how the prices have gone up with consoles, because of all these things, right? I understand the business sense probably doesn't make a lot of sense right now, but in a normal world, like, I would be all in on this, and whether it be a PlayStation, Xbox, or whatever it is, I look at my money and what I'm getting for my money, and I want better for my money, point blank, period. And that's just what it is. And I would trade in, like, tomorrow, if there was a new Xbox drop at the store that was more powerful than the Series X, I would take my Series X, and if I had to, I'd take 2 of them to the store, and I would get that better hardware, because I know that when these games drop later this year, they're probably going to have a higher frame rate or higher whatever on that console, right? So that's just me. Does it make business sense for them? I don't know. Apparently, PlayStation thinks it does. Question is, how expensive is it going to be? Mm-hmm. And if it's too expensive, it's not worth it. Because at that point, what is the benefit versus the reward? What is the benefit versus your money, right? And how powerful will it be? How much better with the games? If they're starting hitting like 4K, 120, or shit like that, it's definitely worth it, right? If they're hitting 4K 60 universally with ray tracing, and the ray tracing's improved and all these things, like, and the games look better and all this kind of stuff, maybe worth it. For me, I'm less interested in the PS5 Pro than I would be a Series X Pro, right? Yep. But that's how I look at it. I know it's not going to be the same that everybody has. I understand these developers got to optimize their games. I say that shit all the time. They got to do better optimization. They got to take advantage of the hardware. Got to take advantage of the hardware and stuff. But the first party games, we can count on the fact that they're probably taking advantage of the hardware, right? That's out there, and I want the best performance possible. So if this was Xbox's news, Insider Gaming had instead of PlayStation, I would be cheering right now because of Starfield, because of Redfall, because of Forza Motorsport, because of the new games and stuff. I mean, like, yeah, can I do, like, how good can I make these games run? What will the performance be? How much better will they look, right? And all those kind of things. But that's just a me thing, right? And if they get to that point of upgrading every 3 years, I will be in line to do that.
Okay.
So that's me.
So let me ask you this before I jump into my side. If this is true, do you think Xbox is forced to follow suit?
Depends on how powerful the PS5 Pro is.
Well, you know it's going to be more powerful than the Xbox Series X.
For sure. If they have it, it also depends on how expensive it is.
Correct.
I think. And if it's like an $800 console, then I don't think they need to get in. If it's $699, $599 in the US, then I think maybe there could be some potential there, right? We've heard the rumors about Xbox releasing that other version of the Xbox 2 as well, that has the like Series X without the disk drive or whatever. I can't remember exactly what all those rumors are. So if they're able to get the price point down on an Xbox to like $50 to $100 less, then that leaves room for you to hit with a new device at the same price, right? Or slightly more. It all comes down to price for me. Like, I don't want to go and spend $700, $800, $900 on one. You know what I mean?
No, right. Obviously,
because there's not going to be enough of people to buy it that's going to put the devs' emphasis to actually prioritize optimizing for it. But if it was something that kind of replaced the primary SKU that's offered out there, then I think it's something that would be looked at, because we're still fairly early on in this generation, right? We got over half the lifespan left. There will be plenty of whatever new devices hit out there eventually. So
You, but do you think Xbox has plans to do this too?
I think it was originally in their plans.
Okay.
I think when people talk, well, what is the hardware team going to do? Phil said this. Well, they're just still going to be making hardware. That's the whole team. They're dedicated
Right.
to
They're already
looking at it.
working on
And,
next hardware.
we talked about this a couple years back, even on our channel, like me and you and
Yeah.
Psycho. And I know Psycho's like anti
Yeah.
upgrade as well and stuff. And I'm kind of like, I always saw this as where the business was going, right? Because they're going to start treating it more like cell phones and like, incremental
PC.
upgrades and,
Right.
and it keep up more with the PC trends and stuff like that. And for me, I'm kind of for that because I don't know, man, like I hate, but like think about it when you're in like year 7, right?
Mhm.
Those consoles start to feel a little dated at times. You know what I mean? Like they
Sure,
start feeling
there
like
are
hey, they're like
games that do.
handicapped. They're handicapped.
There's other games that still surprise too.
There for sure are, right? Like Red
Yeah.
Dead Redemption 2
Yeah.
had no fucking right being on an original Xbox One
No.
console. Like
No.
that was just like a marvel at how that happened, right?
Right.
But Xbox One X played it better.
Mhm.
You know? So I would rather have the experience that the Xbox One X gave than the Xbox One. And I would rather later this generation, even if they're still have yet to cap out, it still makes it another level for them to reach to for these
Right.
developers that makes my experience better regardless, right? So it just depends on the price, man. Like 100%. And for me, it all depends on the price. And the thing that's beautiful about it, especially with Xbox, is like you're not ending support for all this other stuff. Right?
No.
Like your games all get carried with you and you get like free updates on stuff. So it just becomes about choice
Yes.
for you. It's not like a force. It's not like, hey, everybody, your Series X is trash now. You don't need it anymore. It's more of like, do you want this better thing? And then you can make that decision. And I think it's more of an enthusiast thing than anything else, right? But if it replaces the new primary SKU when you have new consumers coming in, it's better value because you're getting more bang for your buck there.
Yeah.
So it just depends on how much the cost is, right?
Right.
And I mean that's just what it is for me. Like if it's like crazy prices, then it doesn't make sense.
This is tough because I've always been against it. I've always been against mid-gen refreshes. But I also understand where the industry's going. I understand the hardware has changed now with x86 architecture. I understand the basics of the tech behind it, and I understand that we're closer to PCs than we are the old consoles. So from that standpoint, I get that if it is an every 4-year, 5-year upgrade kind of path, fine. But I'll keep
Which that would be 4 years of 2024 from 2020.
Yeah, and I personally think the 2024 mark for the PS5 is a little early, although Sony knows they're behind the 8 ball with the power because they're not, because third parties aren't taking advantage of the series consoles. They're obviously console wise, PlayStation 5 is most of the time the lead platform when it comes to console. So nobody's taking advantage of the series consoles. But Sony's also not dumb and understands that with Microsoft acquiring all this talent and all these studios, that eventually the first party titles from Xbox are going to start showing out and showing up with all the tech that's inside the Series X that isn't necessarily the same in the PS5. And so Sony understands that eventually those games are going to start coming out and they're going to start looking crazy good, and it could potentially put a dent in what PlayStation currently has with their first party teams as being some of the best looking games out there. So I understand why PlayStation would be looking over going, look, whatever happened, with the PS5, I'm not here to argue RDNA 2 versus 1.5, all that stuff. I'm not here to argue that. That stuff bores me because I'm not that deep into tech. But I know that Sony at the end of the day would like to come out with a more powerful console. And if ray tracing is a point of fact that they want to use, then they absolutely have to come out with a Pro, because we already know that the ray tracing is lacking on both consoles right now for sure. And so if they believe that that's where the future is and they want to make their first party titles even have ray tracing with 60 frames, they definitely got to come out with new hardware. So this makes sense, but I don't know about 2024. I would think 2025 maybe, because to your point about the pricing, Mav, I think it only makes sense for both of these companies to do something like this if they know they can reduce the cost on the original.
Which we know PlayStation's been pushing towards because
Correct.
they've been revising their hardware constantly.
And that's what Tom was talking. That's what Tom was
Yeah.
talking about the article, right? That's why they're doing this one SKU
Yeah.
with the optional disk drive, is to make that a much easier proposition for them to reduce the cost. Xbox is in a little tougher position because they already have the Series S, which is already a lesser powerful console. However, getting around to my main point, understanding what I do about where this is all going, how these consoles are now in a different architecture. It's fine if they're going to do this, but I want them to be transparent up front. And they still have not been transparent up front. If this is going forward into next generation, what we are going to expect, then I need to know that up front, that I need to think to myself, okay, I'm going to buy this stuff, this new console day one, but 4 or 5 years from now, I'm going to have to upgrade again if I personally want to have the best. That's going to be a thing. And again, a lot of their promises coming into this generation, we've seen fall by the wayside about performance and about what I can expect out of my console. I haven't seen it yet. Not to say that we won't get there, but I'm going to say a lot of the buzzwords thrown around in the beginning of this generation have so far been kind of smoke.
Ray tracing.
Right? Ray tracing, all this garbage.
RDNA.
Right? Now that I've played 60 frames consistently and even 120 on a lot of games on Series X with reduced resolution, would I be interested in a pro model of the Xbox? Absolutely, of course I would. I'd be interested at this point, okay? But I want them to be transparent that this is what we're going to. And I also want Xbox and Microsoft, and yes, I know I'm asking them to do something that nobody else is doing again, but they want to be the front runners in this. They're the trailblazers in all of this going forward. Then I want some type of trade-in setup with Xbox.
They have that right now.
They do if you use through whatchamacallit, right? What's it called?
Xbox Direct? Is that
no. It starts with an A, right? God dang it, what's the name of it?
I don't know.
Anyways, their financing program, if you're a part of that financing program, they do have that. I'm saying overall, then, if this is going to be going forward, I want a trade-in program just like I have with cell phones, like anything else, where I can get in and you're going to give me the updated version. You're going to give me so much back for my original.
All access. All access.
Thank you. I just want that clear. And I want the transparency that, hey, you expect a new model every 4 to 5 years. That's cool with me. That's fine then at that point. But yes, I would be interested in this. And I do think that I don't know if Xbox was planning on doing a pro model this time around. I think they were planning on sitting on, again, with the S being where it's at and with the X being where it's at. I don't think that I think they wanted to go this whole gen without doing a pro model.
Yeah.
However, if they started catching smoke, which they would have known that PlayStation is working, that this stuff doesn't, we may not hear the secrets, but internally they definitely know what's going on. If they got wind that PlayStation was going to do this, they have to. They can't lose the power narrative again.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, but would they be? What if it's like a year later?
Right. That's what I'm thinking. It's going to be a year later. I'm thinking 6 months to a year later is when we get the Xbox version. But I think that they're forced to. If PlayStation is going to do this, then I think Xbox does need to follow suit. Now the big question is, do they do a pro model of the S? I say no.
That's the tricky thing because it's already like, what do you do with the S? Like, do you at some point do you forcing devs to support it or like?
No, I think you do, but I think you drop that price down to
like $199.
150 maybe even. I think at that point like 149, like that's your normal price, and people that are buying it know what to expect from it. That hey, the game's coming out now. You're probably going to be locked at 30.
Right.
That's just kind of how it's going to be. So I think that you are forced to do it, but you're already asking devs to work on 2 SKUs. Now you're going to throw a 3rd SKU in there. And again, I know it's much easier nowadays, but we've already seen, especially third-party devs don't want to put in the time and effort in a lot of ways to work around this stuff. So I don't think you do a Pro S. I think you leave the S where it's at. You do the X, and then you have the X Pro, or whatever you're going to call it, double X, whatever it's going to be, XL. And I think that you make that move, but I think you do have to in response to PlayStation. to stay current and to keep the power narrative.
I
6 months to a year later.
For me, like if it was announced and I got a date, I would be planning on selling my Series X.
Yes.
For as much as I can. I would put it on Facebook Marketplace or wherever, you know what I mean? And I'd sell it for as much as I could get for it, and I would use that towards getting the upgraded model for a couple $100, probably.
Yeah, that's what I would be doing too.
And I would be completely happy with that if it means that one, maybe I have more storage built into the console.
Yes.
Also, maybe I have better performance on some of the games. Like if you could do, let's say that Starfield's performance mode is like 1080 60 or 1440 60. If this could do like 4K 60 with ray tracing or something like that, it's like, well, okay, that might be a little bit worth it. Or like it depends on what they do with the games. And I feel like
next Elder Scrolls 6. And
I mean, you got to look like I'm looking ahead. You know what I mean? Like, if I feel like today is it needed based on the games that we have today? Well, it depends on what the performance would be depending on the games that are released. You know what I mean? And that's all relative to the individuality of the games and what I want to buy. I think it makes more sense also for 2025 or 4 as well, Pong. Especially 5, because at that point you're even better hardware than today, right? You know, like you're releasing hardware that's going to be more in line with next year's tech, probably, right? So then I'm like, that's even better. And that gap gets stronger and stronger. Like every time they announce these new NVIDIA and AMD cards and stuff, it's like they're just so much better than the last one.
Correct.
Right? They're just so much better than the last one. And when they have a next Xbox or a next PS5, they're going to be so much better than the last one. And I feel like for me, Xbox One X was well worth it. When I bought that and played my games.
See, I never did. So
yeah, it was a way better experience for me. And now, even though I love the Series X, it's an amazing machine, and I know it's untapped potential and everything like that. If I had even a better Xbox, I would be even more happy. You know what I mean? Like, I just want the best performance possible in the games that I own. And if they can meet that same price point, like $500 in 2025, that would be the sweet spot, right? That would be amazing. If they got to do 6, 7, then it starts getting a little bit more questionable, right?
The question then becomes, Mav, are we done with generations?
I feel
that's the other aspect.
Well, Tom Henderson said like what 2028, was his like timeline,
right? But
what does generations mean in the future, though? Right?
Do we just go away from that? Right?
I mean, at that point, like within Xbox already, there's no real generations. I mean, there's generations within the technical aspects of it, but you can play every game you bought on the Xbox One on the Series X.
Correct.
So, and a lot of those games got better. So even if they have new technology and new hardware, even if it's a new generation, I expect every one of my Series X games, every single one of my Xbox One games, and 360 games that you can play now to be playable on that machine too.
Right.
But there will be games or a cutoff point where they just don't make games for the past generation anymore. But then you think about the cloud. Well, then you can now play even on older hardware those games in the cloud on your old hardware.
And that's is that what the S would eventually turn into?
That's what I said a long time ago. Is maybe eventually the S is a streaming box, right? Like for the newer stuff.
For new
for a long time it'll be great, but maybe eventually there will be games that come out that are only playable on the cloud on the S, right? Maybe. I'm talking way in the future, not like anytime soon, right?
Right.
Because at some point, the PC minimum specs and all these things could be past that, right? I don't know, right? But right now, it's just not being utilized properly by a lot of third-party devs and publishers. And but yeah, I'm just looking at it like, well, 2025, new Xbox is announced, set for release in October. Whatever. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna get it. And guess what? If 3 years later the next generation one comes out, I'm gonna get that shit too. Right. And I'm gonna keep trading up.
Yeah.
Just like I do with my phone. Like this shit's way more expensive than a fucking console.
Oh yeah.
And I do that like every 2 years. And it does the same damn thing. Like there's no real big difference between this and what I had. The camera's a little bit better. The speed is a little bit better. all this kind of stuff. But we do this shit for fucking cell phones for such stupider reasons than having the performance gains that we get on these games on consoles, right? And it's also consoles are way less expensive, you know? Like, I just feel like a whole lot is made about it that's like, we can't do that, you know? We can't do that because it's just like, you know, I just like, why not? Like, I want, if the games are always move forward with you, and the games always move forward with you, and the devs always have trouble optimizing these games, well, fucking make better hardware, then you can at least make sure you have better experience possible and like make it easier. Like I don't know.
But that's the question that Dova 360 brought up, and Dova, that's a conversation we've had about the devs and about the effort they're putting in, and about are we crutching the devs? Do the devs use too many crutches with patches, with everything else nowadays, and are they not spending enough time? But again, is it the devs or is it the publishers? Is it the management teams not giving them enough resources? Is it because games are becoming so expensive that they aren't giving the devs the time to actually optimize for every single piece of hardware? Is that part of the problem? Are the games becoming so complex that they just don't simply have the resources to make that happen? Like,
I'm just living. Sorry, I'm just living in a real world here.
Yeah,
these devs. This is always going to be a problem.
Correct.
It's been a problem for a long time. It's always going to keep being a problem. All I know right now is the Series X games perform better than they do on a Series S.
Right.
And even from third-party games where they're not optimized great and stuff like that, right? The Series X games outperform Series S games.
Right.
I would expect, even from these devs that get lazy, or they only do PlayStation first and then they go to Xbox later, and then the poorly optimized versions, all that stuff, I would still expect the Xbox Z to perform better than a Series X, right? Even with all that being said, yeah, I understand. There's untapped potential, all this kind of stuff. But, like, what is the fix for that? It's not the fact that there's more SKUs or less SKUs or whatever. It's the fact that PlayStation's more popular right now than Xbox.
Right.
That has nothing to do with the SKUs of the hardware.
No. And it's tough because PC's here, and PC gets updated all the time.
Yep.
And the devs always, again, every game except for console-only games, which are few and far between anymore, every game's going to be made on a PC first, and the devs are going to put their most effort into those games. And so with PCs constantly getting updated, I joke with 3-bit all the time. If if devs had their way, everybody would be required to have a 40 series in their PCs right now. They would never make a game for anything lower than the highest spec if they had their way, right? That's the way it's going to be. And Nix, you have a point that, again, every time that we purchase it, we okay it, right? Just like we talk about with games that are broken. Every time we purchase a game that's broken, we okay it that they can patch it later on. That happens. But to Mav's point, that setup is not going to change. Like that for the foreseeable future until hardware is obsolete, that's not going to change. And unfortunately, we're going to have to hope that the devs get better tools in the process to optimize faster. And maybe, just maybe, AI is going to be that major breakthrough that helps devs get through the development process faster.
Fix bugs for them.
Fix bugs for them. Looks for all the stuff that they can't find. Optimizes code for them. Mm-hmm. Like, we're already seeing glimpses of that. And maybe that's the future where that happens. And with cloud development, maybe it levels the playing field. When everything becomes cloud developed, maybe that levels, because then they can scale very easy up in the cloud versus what currently has to happen with hardware. So it's a tough, and I understand all your points, chat, and I appreciate all your conversations because it's conversations that we've had. Yeah. We've had on multiple shows over this as well. And I saw Psycho in there, by the way, Matt, saying he wants to talk about this.
Yeah, for sure. It's just like at the end of the day, you're walking to a store right now and you got $500 to spend, right? Would you rather buy a box that can play, just for example, Starfield at 4K 60 with ray tracing and more bells and whistles, or would you rather spend $500 and buy this box that came out, and I'm talking about in 2025, right, or whatever, that came out years ago, right?
Right.
And like for me, I want the better performance for the money.
Right. Yeah.
That's just is what it is, and that's what you would get for your money,
Right.
regardless of the devs and optimizing and all of those scenarios. All of those scenarios, every single one of your games would carry forward. You would also potentially, with the Microsoft first party, at least get a lot of free updates for a lot of the games to take advantage of it, much like they did with the One X, much like they did with the Series X, right? And plus, you would also get better performance on the games that you're buying today, which also, for me, gives more value to the games that I'm purchasing. It also provides more value for Game Pass because all the games that go into there will also have better performance. It's like upgrading your gaming PC, but you're just trading in your console and getting another one.
Yep.
That's how I see it anyway. Like the devs, regardless of all that stuff, I still am going to get better performance at the end of the day. And I'm selfish. Like, I don't know if it makes business sense for them. That's the key. I'm not saying this is the best way that Microsoft should go forward or that whatever. I'm just saying what I would want. Right?
Yep.
And I'll take new hardware.
No. And I totally understand. We've had this it's a complex conversation to have because there's so many different pieces to the puzzle.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Steele's point has been since the beginning. Steele's like, I don't care about 4K. And that's the way most PC people are. Don't give me 4K, give me 1440 with all the bells and whistles at Ultra, but put more details in your games.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like Lonzo just said, what happens is we give them more power and the devs just make more complex games, and that reduces the performance again. Like, we're in these constant cycles.
Yeah, but they still have, because of the other tiers that they already have in place, that does handicap the structure of the games more than it does the visual fidelities. The
visual.
Right, that's becomes options, right? Like PC has. I see NC Ghost of Low Road says, I would take 4K at 120 because I'm pretty sure they would all do 4K 60. A lot of games don't hit 4K 60 to this day, unfortunately, right? They should, in my opinion, but it is what it is. Like, but look, and you got to put perspective. What will be a performance like expectation 2.5 years from now?
Right. When does 8K finally become a
4K 120? Is that become a standard 2 years from now? You know what I mean? Is that more
or
possible?
Even upscale as DLSS becomes better and all that kind of stuff?
Like,
do we finally
what are they on?
Tell
like
the difference.
DLSS 3 is just now becoming a thing, right? So what would they be on then? You know, like what would it have? Like, it's hard to think about right now because we only see like, well, maybe what kind of upgrade are we getting? If the upgrade, and what Phil said before, they've released new hardware when it makes sense for them too, because of the transformation of the games. Like, it makes it that much better. Like, that's why when they did the One X was because of 4K and all that kind of stuff, right?
And the power narrative.
Narrative.
Because Phil said we're never going to lose that again.
So they'll do it if there's a substantial enough increase. Right, to the quality that you can expect from the device to make it worth purchasing. If it's not, then they won't do it yet. And if they feel like it's going to give those substantial benefits to the games that they're making, then I think they'll do it.
Yeah. No, and Dova, you're right. Again, TVs are a big part of the console business. That's why the Pros last generation made sense for 4K, because more people were buying 4K TVs. And now most 4K well, no, I won't say most, but I will say 4K TVs that can do 120 are becoming cheaper and cheaper, like cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. Like, you can get some really decent TVs now. For
and in 2025, there'll be even more of them.
Yes, they'll even it'll be almost a standard at that point, right? Yeah. So that's where we're moving. But yeah, this is a complex situation. It's a complex conversation to have with a lot of moving pieces, but it's a good one, and I'm glad we had it. And I'm glad, chat, you guys enjoyed it. What a way to end the show, unless Mav, you came up with another topic you want to talk about.
No, okay. I think I'm set to we're gonna start streaming Exo Primal here shortly.
Primal.
So I'm looking forward to that. The one thing we didn't get to, but maybe we'll talk about tomorrow night on Xbox Ultimate, is this new ecosystem for Xbox.
Oh yeah.
Like that Tom or not Tom Henderson, but the FTC is wanting documents about, right? They want documents about this future of Xbox ecosystem, what the name is redacted. So what is that? What is that going to be? Yeah. But we'll talk about that tomorrow night on Xbox Ultimate.
Yeah, we'll actually have a new topic tomorrow night. But no, we're going to get some great perspectives tomorrow night as well, because Psychonauts and stuff will want to talk about this stuff. So it's going to be fun as always tomorrow night. But this has been PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM, done for another Thursday. over 120 people consistently in the chat. Thank you all. Absolutely amazing hanging out with us for 3 hours. And again, whether you were here for 5 minutes or the full 3+ hours, again, nothing but respect for coming out here and listening to two dudes just who have a passion for this industry and love gaming. Thank you all for being here and joining us. And if you're listening in the future, once more, love you all the same. Thank you for tuning in to what we think is a fantastic show. Mav and I have such a great time on Thursday nights. This is a pleasure to be here. And speaking of Mav, listen, brother, thank you all for the behind the scenes stuff. Thank you, Caitlin, again, for tweeting out, for making the thumbnails, for doing all the work you do behind the scenes. But thank you, both of you. But Mav, tell everybody what we got coming up, including Xbox Ultimate tomorrow night and what's going on for the rest of the weekend, brother.
Tonight, right after the show, shortly, we will be going live. Pong Soul will be playing. Steel Rain will be playing. I don't know who else will be playing. Is it 4-player or 3-player co-op?
I think it's 3-player, but I'm not
one
sure.
of those fucking 3-player.
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
I think
so. We'll figure it out.
I could be wrong.
But we'll be playing Exoprimal, so come in and check that stream out. We'll start shortly. The event's already up. I'll put a link, actually, to that event in the chat. Let me see here. I think Kate already tweeted it out. But besides that, while I'm doing this, we also have Xbox Ultimate tomorrow night. Like I said, it is at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Even though 3-Bit always forgets the time, it is at 3 p.m. Eastern, and we are looking to have a lot of fun tomorrow night. Like I said, we'll talk maybe about what this future Xbox ecosystem is.
Exoprimal says two teams. The main mode is Dino Survival, and I don't know what's available.
5-player, people are saying?
5-player. Yeah,
Ooh.
2 teams of 5
Nice.
players.
I think Psycho may want to play too. So
yeah, we might have a big team. I don't know what's available on this beta, but yeah, if that's the case, then yeah, we can have 5 players. Let's go.
So
Let's go.
I just posted a link to the stream in the chat, so come watch us. And besides that, like I said, Xbox Ultimate Mondays is also FSP at 10 p.m. Eastern time. And maybe we'll get some news on Monday. It'll be nice to have a bigger news week than this week was, for sure. What about you, Pong?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you all again for being here. Great show. And you guys know the drill by now, except there is a change for this weekend. So, anyways, Pong Soul on Xbox, Pong Soul on Twitter. Tomorrow night, I'll be on Xbox Ultimate at some point, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Be there. We're going to have some great conversations. Saturday, listen up. No living split screen. Steele is going to a motorcycle event. If you guys didn't know, that's his other hobby as well. He's got many hobbies, but he does get the bike out, and him and his wife love to go riding. So they are going to a motorcycle event on Saturday. So no living split screen. However, later in the day, Steele and I might be hopping back into some more Exoprimal. He might be streaming it. Don't know. I'm going to be getting down and dirty with some Diablo. I'm sure you probably see me. Mav will probably be streaming Diablo at some point. I'll probably be in there as well. But no living split screen Saturday. But normally on Saturdays, it is 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time for living split screen. But enjoy your Saturday morning without me and Steele. I don't know where you're going to find your energy from, but that's up to you. But I get a break too, which will be kind of nice, actually. It's been a long time. But Saturday night, back at it, the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam's channel. Got to be there Saturday nights. Fuzzy Belvedere's there. I am there. And this week, we have Lord Attic coming on the Shop Podcast. So it's going to be a fun Saturday night. So join us there. It is now, because the time changed yet again, and PTK is in Arizona. We go back to 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time on Saturday nights. So be there, the Shop Podcast. And then, of course, next week it starts all over Tuesdays, Xbox Factor Podcast. Double Barrel Gaming is the channel. Mr. Boomstick is the man, Mr. 12K. Congratulations again, Boom, on that. But Xbox Factor, I believe, is the best show that he has. 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time every Tuesday. And then right back here next Thursday for PM in the PM. Listen, all, it's Golden Age Gaming. If you can't tell, Mav and I talked about a lot of games tonight, a lot more coming out. Get out there, play what you love what you play. Have a fantastic Friday. Have an incredible start to your weekend and enjoy it. We'll talk to y'all real soon. Mav, get us the hell out of here.
Come watch us kill some dinosaurs. Peace out.